Greetings, everybody. Welcome to That Game Place Live. Today, we are covering some amazing stories, some wonderful, wonderful things, and some ridiculous things, and then more gaming industry news. I think we've got plenty to talk about today. I just was thrown this piece of information. It looks like the Assassin's Creed Shadows figure has been actually removed from sale because it's insensitive. So you will not be able to find this. If you have it already, congratulations. This is from Pure Arts Limited, and they are pulling the Tory Gate statue because it was insensitive. There's a lot going on with Ubisoft. We're definitely going to talk about that today, but let me bring in the amazing panel. As always, we have the wonderful monster himself, Marvin. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. Feeling good on this fine day, and pleasure to see you as well, my bearded amigo.
Great to see you, my friend. And we've got Stone Cold Loki from Loki's Mornings of Mischief. How are you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm angry, Culture. I'm always angry. But you know what? Maybe we can warm our hands by a little, trash fire some Ubisoft figures that are never going to release because, insensitive.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of very weird things happening. But I have important people to discuss that with, of course. We have Space Dave 2000, who is he's got a bird's eye view, so to speak. How's it going, Space Dave?
I see everything from up here, and I just want to announce today's my birthday, so it's a greater day than normal.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
Wow, amazing, Space Dave. So happy birthday to Space Dave, everybody. All right.
Line up for whoopings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The birthday bumps.
Do they still do that? Well, but last but not least, at least for the moment, we may have another party member join us in a bit, but this guy's working really hard on a video that might take a little longer than most, and I love his work, Lost in the Files. You can check out our brother Nolan Thunder on his channel and check some of those out. He does some good stuff. How you doing, man?
Thank you so much for the plug there. Always appreciate it. But I want to make this about Dave for a moment, though. Like, I still have that balloon from Pro's celebration stream. It's been floating around with the helium for like 2 weeks. So if you need a balloon, I got you, homie.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Yeah. And look, let's start off with that story just like to kind of ease into it, because the next thing we were going to talk about is going to be the Microsoft antitrust suit. But let's take a look at the fact that, this very insensitive thing somehow made it out in the world, and we all knew it was going to be insensitive. Well, I mean, most people, when it comes to these Tory gates and everything else that's been associated with whatever Assassin's Creed puts their hands on. But coming to the stage is Pure Arts to rework Assassin's Creed's Shadows statue featuring Yasuke and Naoi on destroyed Tory Gate after massive backlash. And as predicted, our final party member has arrived. It is the amazing Kabuto Man.
Happy birthday, Space Dave. Happy birthday, Space Dave. That's all I got.
Thanks.
I'm surprised you were able to crawl out of your rage cocoon today, Spence.
Don't even get me started. Oh my, don't even, Marvin. Marvin, do not saw that Simu Lu story at midnight and from your tag, and I was like, I could go to bed. But I'm not going to bed. I'm too angry now.
My favorite thing about Spencer, one of many wonderful things about it, my friend Spencer here, is how much he hates Simulu. It's nonstop entertainment.
Get him out of my face.
Well, he's in Canada, dude. He's a ways away from you.
He keeps coming over here and taking American acting jobs. Like my friend Jacob always says, we're building the wall on the wrong border.
Whoa. Might be true, actually.
All right. Well,
those Canadians keep coming in and taking our entertainment jobs.
They took our jobs.
Hey, if we're better at it, what can I say? I mean, come on.
Hey, okay, Spencer. Politics aside, and speaking of walls, we're talking about a gate right now. This Tory Gate situation with this figurine that's culturally insensitive. This is a destroyed Tory Gate that got a lot of people mad, right?
Ubisoft.
I mean, look.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
at the end of the day, the Tory Gate.
But I also disagree though with your opening assertion that everybody knew this was offensive. Like I didn't even know that this was an offensive thing until this happened. Right.
Oh, okay. Well, they've been talking about it now for the better part of 4 weeks, I think.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is I didn't know that a one-armed Tory Gate was offensive until this happened. So like to say everybody knew it. No, I don't agree with that sentiment.
So it's the destroyed Tory Gate that's the offensive part, right? Not just having the Tory Gate.
Because of the dropping the bomb and World War II.
There is one specific Tory Gate in Japan that is a symbol to them of the resilience of the country following the bombings, and it's one single Tory Gate, and I don't think anybody knew about it. I don't like this. To me, wasn't them going, "Oh, I'm intentionally going to do this." It was just them being stupid.
Yeah. They have a $1 billion company and all of these employees to make sure that what they're doing isn't. So, see, this is the thing. Ubisoft can stare and tout that they've got all these people, all these historians, all this stuff, and that we're supposed to trust them, that they know what they're doing and they're accurate, but then they miss something like this because they don't care. They don't care. They don't look into anything. They just go, oh, look, that's neat. It's like that scene in Jurassic Park where she's like, you've got these plants that have been extinct for millions of years. Most of them are poisonous, but you pick them because they look good. It's the same incompetency.
Yeah, and I think at the same time, though, it's more troublesome to somebody like me from stepping back from the business side of things. I mean, everything you're saying is 100% on point, and I'm sure Spencer would agree with you. But I'm telling you right now, you have a company that's supposed to be incredibly woke, has gone ultra woke. They're like proto woke. They are the end all be all of woke. And they have sensitivity readers, and they have local experts that they've paid, like you've suggested, zillions of dollars to, and everything else. And yet they didn't see this coming. It's kind of weird. Like I said, I would have expected more. But their particular comment, or Pure Heart's comments, is as such. We recently released an insensitive design. We appreciate and have learned from the concerns brought to our attention, and we've apologized for the harm this has caused. After reading and processing the feedback, we have immediately returned to the drawing board, and we are currently reworking the design of the Collectors, Assassin's Creed, Shadows, Yusuke, and Naue. So they're working on it. So, and this is the post right here. So let's see. What does that mean for people who already pre-ordered them? Are you canceling all of them? I personally haven't noticed anything wrong with the design. Pure Heart says pre-orders have not been canceled, and you will receive an email soon with more information. So in other words, we want to keep your money, but you're not going to get the design that you ordered. Right? Am I reading that wrong?
Mm-hmm. No, you're not reading that wrong.
Okay. So
not at all.
It's pretty false advertising.
It's pretty wild, and here's the whole reason that everybody's upset, for good reason. I mean, again, there are items of cultural pride in every country, and this one, as Spencer pointed out, it's quite brilliantly and eloquently that this is kind of a national symbol for them. Not kind of, it is a national symbol for them, and ultimately, it means something. So hopefully, companies are more sensitive in the future. But then, that brings me around to the statement that I made just a moment ago. Is this Ubisoft's fault with all of their professionals, or is this Pure Heart's just innocent mistake? I don't know. Spencer, I kind of want your opinion on this, since you kind of were driving the bus on it.
I mean, to me, I genuinely feel like this is just a genuine mistake. I mean, look, for example, to go back to that Simu Liu story that Marvin and I were talking about. Yeah. In that story, there is a moment where this entire incident with him and this boba tea cultural appropriation thing, you guys in the crowd can go check it out for yourself. It's kind of long and convoluted, but basically at one point after Simu Liu calls them out for cultural appropriation, that one of his fellow panelists goes, well, here's the thing. They have been in conversations with their distributors in Taiwan the entire time. If this is the first time they've ever had somebody say something about cultural appropriation, how can you put that on them? That is sort of where I'm going here, is that they're clearly going for a like a battle damage, like we're in the moment, we're in the action sort of look with it. Yes, obviously, like Loki said, they have all these sensitivity people. Nobody there, like you said, Culture, this is such a woke company that the second, if anybody had gone, this might be offensive, they would have canned it immediately. So to me, this means nobody brought it up until it got out into public. And that happens sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here defending this company, defending Ubisoft and saying everything they're doing is great, but I'm also not rushing to pick up my pitchfork, right? Because again, this situation also sort of exposes another one of the hypocrisies in our spheres right now, which is, oh, this is so offensive, you need to change it. Oh, you're false advertising. Oh, this is so bad. But we complain when other people do that. If it's an artistic intent, why are we complaining this time, right? Like, I understand the cultural aspect of it, but it is a weird question to me because yeah, I don't see this as intentional. And now I feel like we're going, oh, look, they were offended. That's good because they're on our side. So we can use this offense to our advantage. When if this was the other way around,
I need to inject.
This is ridiculous.
I have to interject. So I agree with everything Spencer is saying. I think it's an honest mistake. I don't think it is something that should be given this amount of vitriol. However, I subscribe to the old saying, pity not the arsonist who burns in their own flame. And this company F's around, and this company just found out. Okay, so you can't pearl clutch and virtue signal and put yourself out there as this paragon company and then turn around and make a mistake like this. You can't.
Correct.
Because people are going to jump all over your butt, and they should.
And to add,
Sorry,
to
I'm
add,
gonna buy it
to
out.
throw another log on the fire with what Marvin was saying, everybody is too sensitive now. Period.
Yeah.
Okay, Ubisoft wants to be sensitive. They want to go, oh my God, how dare you talk about Yasuke? Oh no, how dare you say that this person wasn't in Japan? Oh, how dare you say anything about our historians? How dare you do this? How dare you do that? We're so sensitive to everything everybody says about us, and then get pissed when somebody says, you know what, I find that offensive because of the what Japan went through in World War II and after the bombs were dropped. You can't sit there and blast how sensitive you are about everything, and then complain that
exactly.
Oh, well, oopsie.
Wait a minute, exactly. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Come on now.
No.
Well, no, exactly. Okay. Like at the end of the day, do I think it's something worth freaking out about? Absolutely not. I think it was an honest mistake. Am I going to rush to Ubisoft's defense as their own people eat them alive? like Scar with the hyenas at the end of Lion King? No, I'm not going to feel. I didn't feel bad for Scar, and I don't feel bad for Ubisoft.
Amen.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, I just found it interesting what Vera Dark said. It's kind of along my line of thinking. It's like they spent $500 million on game budgets before. So either they hired dollar store historians or intentionally disrespecting. Now, I understand where she's coming from. And again, this could have been done in good faith or in bad faith. We just will never know. But I think the reaction is wonderful. And I'm kind of enjoying the conversation around it because look, it's not us bringing all this garbage to everybody's doorstep. And as Loki said, people are far too sensitive. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I'm gonna on what Vera was saying. Vera Dark was saying there. I think that these historians that they brought in were only hired to say Yasuke was a black samurai.
Right.
They did no other work. That's why everything else about this game is so like putridly not accurate. Any Japanese historian worth their salt would have taken one look at that and been like, whoa, brother, you can't do that. But they didn't, because these historians were brought in specifically and given a check to stand up in front of a camera and say, Yasuke was a black samurai, deal with it. That was their whole job. And it was a one-note moment. Mic drop.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, I think that lots of good points are being made in the articles being written around this, and this one just it blew my mind. So this is from Kit Sun Che. I hope I said their name properly. Ubisoft used an atomic bomb relic for its marketing campaign. This is what DIE money buys. I guess maybe DIE perhaps. Yeah, this is what you get. This is what DIE money buys a company. Yeah.
So we absolutely know that this toy is going to cause a lot of buzz, and we're all talking about how, offensive it is, how they've just stumbled into hot water. But am I the only one here kind of wondering, they're going to have to revise this thing? I doubt they're just going to throw away the promotion. If you guys remember back in like the early 2000s after, the terrorist attacks happened, they had a lot of censorship in media. They would replace, the Twin Towers with like some of the most ridiculous looking buildings they could think of to just try to do everything they can to make sure they weren't going to be insensitive to the tensions and the feelings at the time. I remember Lilo and Stitch, they edited the whole end of the movie to have it go from being in a city to being in like outer,
same
like
with
more
the end
rural.
of Metal Gear Solid 2. That's why it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Why?
Exactly. So I want to know what stupid thing Ubisoft is going to come up with to approve to replace this thing with. I wonder if it'll be as equally.
They'll probably just, honestly, like, unfortunately, I want to be funny, but the only thing I can imagine is that they're just going to make the Tory Gate full.
Well, I mean,
Culture. Imagine that. Hey, Culture. What do you want us to do with the other half of this Tory Gate that we're not going to use? Just throw them in the trash.
Yeah. No, honestly,
6 months later.
That way, but yeah, I get the sentiment.
Yeah, no. No, I believe they'll probably change the mold. But the question. So here's the problem, though. I believe that this is a reference to an in-game moment.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
So Spencer, do you think I'm wrong in my speculation?
I don't know where you're getting that. I feel like that's really out of pocket. So make your argument to me.
No, it's just like oftentimes toys are supposed to be reflections of like different moments in games.
Yeah, but
like
we also know that marketing materials and toys don't always reflect the things that are actually in the thing. Like when they did the Amazing Spider-Man toy line, they put a Ben Reilly figure in there, and he's never showing up ever again. So
okay.
Well, I mean, imagine if at the end of the game they're standing there at the end of the game and they're in front of a broken Tory Gate, exactly like what's in the statue.
That would make it fine to me because that's a narrative thing. I don't know. Is there a reason for that? Maybe they were in a giant fight. Maybe there was a big war. Like Tory Gates exist and Tory Gates are going to get damaged. Not all of them are going to be references to that one gate. Just like buildings are always going to be blown up and buildings are always going to be like hit by things, and not all of those are references to 9/11.
Very true,
absolutely.
Spencer. I think that's a great argument there. But I can't help but think back into the 90s, when the Batman Mask of the Phantasm toys were coming out and how one of the toy for the Phantasm itself revealed who the character was going to be in the movie because they had the character out of its costume to dress it up. And it could really go either way. But I'll tell you, if this is direct, because they spoil the beans a lot of the time. So I'm with you on your opinion on that. But this could be a lot more dangerous than what we realize. And I don't know if we'll ever know the truth, really, if they were going to do a game moment about that.
But see, I don't know that if they have one that they're even going to bother to be able to change it. I'm starting to think that the 5-month window they bought themselves by announcing the delay to the game isn't going to change the game all that much, other than maybe some polishing.
Of course, anybody who thought that this delay was going to make significant changes to the game was fooling themselves. It is 5 months. You cannot scrap an entire game and start over from square one. Like only by time and by business sense. They're not going to throw away all the millions they've already thrown in. That's just nobody's ever going to do that.
Yeah, maybe they're hoping that Tencent has purchased them by then, and they can just scrap the entire game in general, take it as a loss. But we'll see. It's possible.
I don't think they would, because that's too much of an egg on their face in the culture war, and
it won't be their face anymore. It'll be Tencent if they get purchased.
Their name is still on it. Their name is still Ubisoft.
It depends on what they get.
No,
if they get taken over, and
they're not getting taken over. That's the thing.
Spencer is right.
I wrote the article on it. Nobody's buying out Ubisoft. They're going into a partnership where they'll split ownership of what they have right now with Tencent while retaining 51.1% of the company. So Ubisoft is still the owner and the company.
Yeah, anyone that thinks that this game is going to come out and Yasuke is not going to be in it, or they're going to put in this mythical, male Japanese protagonist that was most likely their original idea to go with, like it was reported on a lot of videos that were very good. It's not going to happen. They can't reverse course on this. Like you literally can't. The people that you've already ticked off are not going to forgive you. And all you're going to do is tick off the people that are with you now. And then you'd have everybody against you.
Well, but they kind of already do in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not like they've earned a lot or ingratiating themselves to both sides on this. And the people that they, the people that they've tried to do that with, they don't buy games. You know,
well, they walked into that door, culture. They walked through that door and said, you know what? We want to hang out with a whole bunch of people that'll eat us alive, that'll eat their own. They've kind of asked for this. So they want to live in the world of DEI and ESG and all this BS. Let them live in that world and let them die in that world.
I think you're right. And you know what? This is why I appreciate having panel discussions on this, because we got a lot of different perspectives and some bright minds. So thanks for that. We also have some great super chats and some wonderful compliments by the audience. So let's jump over to that. But first up, the leaderboard already had to be filled out today. So I'm doing double duty with no Jonas today. So we've got these up to the moment, just a second ago, although Pinochet now is still firmly in first. But for the month, we've got Machini draws, Pinochet's helicopter tours coming in as the gold supporter on this stream. We've got Machini draws in silver supporter spot, and Clive Griffiths as in a tie with bass player 2011 iffy at the moment. But thank you guys for your support. We appreciate it. Let's get through those super chats right now. Man, it's been already, we're one full story in and we're already rolling. You guys are on fire. We appreciate you very much. Starting off with the amazing Ruby Who for $2 worth of tokens. That's right. In a super sticker, which is my favorite little Shiba Inu dog, Fartin' Hearts. Thank you for that. PGV Monster with $2 saying, hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Well, happy Wednesday to you. It is. It's also as a reminder for those of you who've joined us late. There's over 107 of you now. We're going to try to get the stream over 200 today. If you can help share it out, share the stream, share the dream, we'd appreciate it. But it is Space Dave 2000 birthday. So everybody with Space Dave birthday. All right. On top of that,
do we get on trouble? Do we get like copyright struck on YouTube if we sing like the real birthday song?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
That was a genuine question. I did not know.
It's true.
You can't sing it in anything because somebody apparently owns
the
copyright to it.
Yeah, that's what I was referencing, Marvin. I just didn't know it got that stringent to the point where it was on like YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure you'd get the little red. You get the little red dollar sign in the.
Oh yeah, 100%
in the studio tab, being like blocked in certain territories because he's saying happy birthday.
Blocked in the land of imagination.
According to Wikipedia, happy birthday to you is now in the public domain.
Oh, is it really?
Is that recent?
Published in 1893.
I've never got copyrighted for singing happy birthday to somebody. So
yeah, but regardless,
yes, I did once. I remember we were singing happy birthday to a 2-year-old once, and a lawyer walked in the room and punched me in the gut. It was awful.
I don't believe
I know, like movies can't sing
Nintendo.
It. Like in movies and TV shows, you can't sing it.
I don't know what to tell you. 1893. It's well over the expiration of copyright.
Well, let's just be safe than sorry.
Let's just say happy birthday to Space Dave and move on to the super chat that's on the screen right now. See, did I do that like Jonas did, or with less tact? Probably less tact.
Yeah, less tact. Anyway, but
yeah. For $5 worth of Tolkien's, the leftist West has always hated conservative Japan, pairing that with a subversive CCP with a Japan grudge, and it should start to become clearer. Oh, I agree.
Yes,
I agree.
The Japanese society is built around the core tent poles of respect, family, and hard work. And that is a threat to people who want to be disrespectful to everyone, but expect respect only to them. People who want to destroy the American family and, completely push back on family values, and people that don't want to work and just get everything for free. So yeah, Japan is their worst nightmare. And the fact that everything that comes out of Japan lately, or at least a lot of things that have come out of Japan lately, have blown up and become so huge, like Godzilla -1 and a lot of different anime series and games. Stellar Blade, for instance, like these are things that are
Stellar Blade's Korean.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. It came out of the East. I'm sorry. I thought it was Japanese.
You lumping everybody in as Asian.
Yeah, I just did a racism. I'm sorry. But no, it's a huge threat to the mind virus movement.
Oh, true story. Speaking of true stories, we've got another
Family Guy. I was gonna make that joke too, Marvin, that you did a racism, but I was like, I don't know if he's gonna get it, and I'm like, oh yeah, of course he does. We just did the Alan Rickman bit for like 15 minutes the other day.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of amazing super chatters, Pinochet followed up with another $5 worth of tokens, saying, "Hey, we were warned by Yuri Bezmenov, yes, in the Call of Duty trailer years ago that the left was coming for our stuff, our history, our stories, all to serve the CCP." Totally correct. Machini draws for $10 worth of tokens. They do have historians and consultants, and they are more focused on the otherly defining love between monks and people too young than actually being authentic,
tiptoe,
and respectful to Japanese history and culture. Thank you, Machini, for challenging me to do that on the fly. I appreciate.
I want that to be the name of a romance novel. Just FYI.
That was a beautiful dance.
Masterfully done.
Culture.
Oh, thank you for the $10 in tokens. We got Clive Griffiths for £5 sterling. That's proper money, ladies and gentlemen, which is about $7 in tokens. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hates.
I think he means have some.
Oh, yeah, I know. I hate some tokens. I love halves. Have some tokens. I'm listening in. Have a great day. Thank you, Clive. It was good to see you pop in the stream nice and early. A lot of people were here early. Thank you all. We appreciate it. Bass player. Bass player.
I was about to say, I believe that's bass player. Playing the scales.
Shut the stream down. Start again.
Playing the bass.
Like that fish guitar thing from Majora's Mask.
Take me to the river.
I'm surprised Spencer didn't make more fun of me. But anyway, for $5 in tokens, bass player 2011, if he says, I've said it before and I say it again. They aren't changing a thing. They are spreading out their losses. Yes, this is another strategery. Do you know who else does this? Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, when they build attractions, is why it took Tron 7 years to get built in the Magic Kingdom. 7
for 48 seconds. Ooh.
Yeah. Well. I mean, sometimes people are just busy, and who has time for more than 48 seconds? I'm just saying. Anyway. You want the high score, and in a race you want the lowest score, lowest time. So there you go.
Keep telling yourself that, culture.
Okay. Anyway, they're spreading out their losses. 100% correct. They don't want 2 flops on the same quarter, and they would have them. They're actually aiming for a flop a quarter, and right now they are on pace to do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that I also think, and I know we made jokes about it, but I think that pushing it into February was also, they're going to have the Obsidian Shield of Black History Month for people that are going to complain about Yasuke. It's going to, how dare you? It's February.
Oh yeah, no, 100. I mean, that's why do you think they haven't talked about it yet? Like everybody knows, but they're just waiting.
Well, but here's the problem: if everybody knows, how effective is it going to be?
Doesn't matter. They'll still do it.
It's not going to be as it's not going to be as effective as the holiday release. So all that Christmas money that parents could have been in the stores, that they could have been like, oh well, little Timmy doesn't have this, even though little Timmy doesn't want that because it's crap. They missed that. They missed that payday. They can do it in Black History Month all they want to. They are missing the Christmas payday.
Well, okay, so Spencer, did you probably already know this, but or probably all of you guys do, but they are talking about shutting down X Defiant.
Yeah, good.
But isn't that amazing though? Didn't they just dropped that game? I mean, it's like what, It's not even a year old.
This is fourth season.
I have been on the X Defiant hater train since since they showed the trailer, because that game is I coined the I don't want to say coin because it's not like everybody uses it, but I started using a term. I'm sure everybody used it for this game too. But I refer to that game as a straight up like zoomer shooter, because it is not a regular shooter in the way we would play something like a standard Call of Duty or even Fortnite. It is built on those mechanics of like, we got to slide all the time and we're always switching our guns and we're like zooming all, like we're twitching all over the place with our mouse and we're looking 360 directions. Like that's what the game was built on. So when I saw that, I went like, nobody but those hardcore like weirdo 15-year-olds play this. This game
is saying that out loud. Thank you.
GG, man, GG.
Okay, well, speaking of GG, we got Pinochet again for $5 worth of tokens. Says, I wouldn't put it past the CCP-friendly establishment to purposely insult Japan. No, they do it all the time. Revisionist history is never a mistake. Malice is always their intent, and you are 100% correct. Wow. Whew, Pinochet bringing the wood today. All right, we got Angmar in the house. Angmar WK for $5 worth of tokens. Thank you, Angmar, as I write everything down. What would be funny is if they have Yasuke on the US version and a Japanese character for Japan. Side note, hail the panel. Chat and mods, hail to you. Angmar.
Would that be funny or would that be infuriating?
Well, no, actually, it'd be kind of funny because it would just show that they're only as woke as their checkbook goes, right? The countries
Just
they can get away with it in.
Just import your copy from Japan. Get your copy that way.
Yeah.
There is nothing that makes me angrier in this world than hypocrites. So, people that don't stand by their convictions.
Are you talking about Disney again? I always get confused.
Pretty much always.
Yeah, kind of.
I thought we were talking about Simu Liu.
Well, also true. Speaking of hypocrites.
You're always talking about Simu Liu.
Oh, man. Makini rolls back in with another big swing. He's got $10 worth of tokens, saying, speaking as a person who that month is dedicated to, that will backfire harder than Kamala trying to appeal to black people right now. Well, thank you for the double cover there, Makini. I appreciate it.
Doesn't she change her accent every time she speaks at this point?
She does. It is bonkers.
I love it. It's
Well,
entertaining.
trying to escape the politics of it all, which is almost impossible now. Everything is infested with the garbage, the modernity. I have to say, the one person I know is Spencer Baculi, and he wrote a great article on something we didn't get to cover last week because it kind of happened, I think, over the weekend, if I'm not mistaken. The CEO over for CD Projekt Red was an idiot.
No.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Tell us how you really feel, Culture.
Okay. He was probably the most tone deaf, out of touch CEO in history, or he just willfully lied to everybody, including his investors. So
neither outcome of the situation is great.
No. So let's take a look at it, because I think you did a good job with the article here, Spencer, and thank you. I love how you picked what's her name, Misty, as the
it was perfect.
Really? That's like the really look you're getting right there. Yep. Anyway, so despite publicly available information, CD Projekt Red CEO claims Cyberpunk 2077 studio does not do DEI driven recruitment. Baloney sausage. Okay, and the hypocrisy here is absolutely ridiculous. By the way, Erica did a great job voice acting Misty in that.
Oh yeah, Erica Lindbeck.
Yeah, I actually will be. Yeah, she's a great voice. But I'm actually in the middle of at the beginning of the game. When I say the middle of the beginning of Cyberpunk 2077, I'm playing it through on the PS5 now with all the changes to see what that looks like.
I was gonna say, have you done the Phantom Liberty one yet?
I'm working my way. I'm working my way there. Yeah. So, but I will say that I'm almost at the point where she talks to V for the first time. So, I'm not even to the credits yet.
Because
it takes how many hours to get to the
that prologue, that opening.
But I love it because you can literally get to like street cred level 20 before. Anyway, I'm sorry, that completely distracted from the purpose.
That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about video games. You're on point.
Yeah, no, but it's amazing. So anyway, we should write game guides. I think we would be good at it. But anyway, so
No, I am only here to make political statements.
What
Me
time?
too. Me too.
Why not use your guides as a way to make your political statements?
Yeah, there you go.
Mario jumping on the turtle, which represents the patriarchy.
Here's how to unlock. Here's how to unlock unlimited money in Ultraman 4, and why if you take this cheat, you're just helping the bourgeois or whatever. I don't know. There you go.
You're hopelessly you're capitalist. Anyway, so according to the CD Projekt Red CEO Michael Nowakowski, the Poland-based studio behind the Witcher series and Cyberpunk 2077 pays absolutely no mind to the concepts of corporate-backed diversity, equity, and inclusion in their hiring process. But curiously, the studio's own website says otherwise. Well, yeah, even I got into this Twitter war, by the way. Just taking big swings, but look,
everybody did because it was just so
it's like
absurd.
What? Yeah, the absurdity is ridiculous. And Smash JT, kind of went at it. I mean, everybody did. Endymion, it's been bonkers. But I wanted us to talk about the story specifically because Nowakowski currently serves as CD Projekt Red's joint CEO alongside of Adam Badowski. Offered
a cool name.
I honestly, when I wrote Badowski, I was like, "That's so cool."
It's a great name. Yeah,
you might think you're bad, but I'm Badowski.
I'm Badowski.
Yeah, and I run a giant game company. Anyway, so offered his alleged insight into the company's operations in response to an October 9th video from YouTuber Endymion. Well, there he is, the center of it all. Everybody's like, he's making stuff up. Well, he's got everybody. He's got everybody pissed. So
also, Badowski sounds like
people.
Badowski sounds like it could be the villain in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah, or maybe even in a Nintendo game.
Yeah,
I just think of that cartoon like Kick Buttowski or whatever.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, so therein, the YouTuber alleged, the particular video that is, wow, you used the word therein properly, Spencer. You get $1. Anyway, so
I have to use my degree for something.
Okay, well done. Anyway, so per information.
Wait. We need a degree to be on the show.
No, we don't need a degree. I just wanted to make my investment worthwhile one time.
All right.
Space Dave, you're in space, dude. All the astronauts have to have doctorates, so you're all good.
I learned on the job to get up here, but don't tell anyone.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now. CD Projekt Red is in absolute chaos right now, based on who actually is still working there that used to work on previous games. In other words, not many. Timestamp. Well done. My goodness, look at you go, Spencer. Anyway, apparently lots of senior talent has already left CD Projekt Red. For example, the director of The Witcher 3 has long left the studio, and they've already created their own studio with their own new game as well. Apparently places like Warhorse Studios, the makers of Kingdom Come Deliverance, they have actually been poaching talent from CD Projekt Red like crazy these past few years. And I was told that the problems that are plaguing Ubisoft, our diversity hires, are also starting to damage and ruin CD Projekt Red as well. I want to ask a question before I continue. Is anyone on this panel surprised?
Nope.
I'm rarely surprised.
Nope.
Still don't really believe it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
All right, fair enough. Oh, you mean about the people being poached or no?
No, about just all of Endymond's recent scoops. I talked about it last week. It all sounds too good to be true, so I have reservations.
You're skeptical and have reservations. Understood. Fair enough. All right. So according to the other source, CD Projekt Red has begun to rely heavily on outsourcing to contractors to help with their games. All of the studios are doing that now, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because they're buried by the lack of internal talent, to be fair. Because new talent that they have.
When one game goes wrong.
Say again?
I said it's because they don't. The companies nowadays, they are too corporate. They don't understand talent retention or building people up. So they go into a project and go, I want this to be the next Call of Duty. I want it to make $4 gazillion. And when it doesn't make anywhere close to that, like everybody would have seen coming, they go, well, what do? We need to save money now. We need to cut employees. So they cut that team. And it's like, well, now you got to go out and hire people who aren't familiar with your company philosophy, with your direction, with the specific technology, with what you're every time they're starting from ground zero to bring it all full circle.
Okay, but this comes back. This comes back to a broader concept of hiring just fresh out of school, the hottest school MBAs that have no practical experience with how to operate a business and have only been operating in theory. And the case studies that they use mislead them into thinking that it's okay to shed employees and have churn, out of each of these teams. But the problem being is with that, and this is what you learn over time if you actually run your own company, is that you can ill afford to lose something called institutional memory.
There I forgot that term. That's what it was.
The institutional memory that you build the entire time is how this thing works, why this thing works, all of that. And the problem is, and I'm sure a lot of us, have experienced this, is that when you lose that institutional memory, your company becomes less efficient and effective, and people have to relearn things that have already been taught to them the previous game or the previous month or whatever, the previous season. And this is in every business. Most importantly, at Disney, it's across the board from their theme parks through their film and television studios. They are constantly losing that integral piece of their business, and it fails them in the end. And again, these Johnny-come-lately MBAs that they get in for cheap because they're brand fresh and they think they're the hot shots, end up destroying these companies because they go with the latest greatest, which is how you ended up with so many companies adopting this McKinsey study information and thinking it was actually going to lead them to the promised land of profitability, which is how you ended up with DEI, ESG, and everything else. Anyway, that was a long way to go for that, but I just want to jump right into.
But to play devil's advocate, that's been going on for a long time in other industries, like in the financial industry and such, where you get these hot shots that think they're going to make you a ton of money, and maybe they will short term, but they have no long term vision for anything.
Look at the cycle for financial disasters. Buildups in either housing or commercial real estate or in various types of investments and things like that. They come in waves, right? A theory is prevalent in a school. That theory is taught in a school. It makes it out into the business world, and every 4 to 8 years, something goes sideways because of those people that they cycled through. It's like, look, there's no shortcut in business. There's no shortcut to success, and that's what these corporations are looking for. They're looking for endless profits and continuous growth in a cycle that is impossible to maintain or achieve.
I think beyond profit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Just sorry to interrupt, but I think it's not just profit, it's the increase of endless profit. I think that's the direction you're going, which is, hey, I don't just make a dividend. I want to see that dividend triple and then quadruple, and then it never ends. Like there's this, as you said, there's this concept of, hey, I always want to see an increase, and that's not always possible. I mean, you're going to hit a wall sooner or later where you can't expand any further, and you have no more audience to make money off of.
But we're wildly apart from the subject matter. All I will say in response to that is every single industry has a point at which it reaches maturity or saturation, if you prefer, whatever business term you'd like. Yep. So
typically in most countries, but some places are lagging behind. But yes.
Yeah, no, it's true. And so what eventually happens is you just run out of audience. Right. So it doesn't matter if it's the game, a television, film, whatever, you run out of audience. So in the case of CD Projekt Red, they had a very continually growing audience for their material. They've sold Witcher 3 forever. They had a huge buildup to Cyberpunk 2077. They had built-in fans because the fans trusted them because their games had been to that point, pretty darn good. Right. And they weren't going to release something that's broken. And then what did they do? They released something that's broken, which is, what led us to this point. And then when they had that colossal oopsie, they leaned into the easier to attain, cheaper money. And that is going to be their downfall. Anyway, back to this.
Can I throw something on there?
Sure.
All of these companies, every single one of them, whether you're talking about CD Projekt Red, Ubisoft, EA, whatever, they have all created this problem that we see in this article. And that is each and every single one of them, Capcom, EA, CD Projekt Red, Ubisoft, said, we don't want to use Unreal anymore. We don't want to use Unreal anymore. We don't want to pay Unreal to allow us to use their engine. We don't want to deal with it. We're going to go and we're going to do our own. That way we can do all of this in-house. And from everything that's being said here, they don't have anyone that remembers how to work on their own engine. And the only one that was very successful is Capcom.
That's why every company is going back to Unreal, Loki. Like, I know you've seen it. Like, every company in the last month is like we saw it from Halo, we saw it from Konami. They're like, oh, we're going back to Unreal, even though they've got Konami is sitting on the Fox engine, which is what Kojima and his team made specifically for Metal Gear Solid 5. They made one other game with it, which was that really awful Metal Gear Solid Survive tie-in. And now nobody works there that knows how to use it. So they're going, all right, back to Unreal.
That's insanity. That is insanity that you don't have anyone that understands your proprietary software. This is your software. This is your engine. You built it so you didn't have to pay for Unreal, and you have no one left that knows how to work it. That is the most dumb, asinine thing I have ever heard of in my life. We don't have anybody that understands how to work our own engine, so we're just going to go back to Unreal.
I'll tell you this, coming from the financial industry, that happens all the time. They'll develop a platform, and then all those people will leave. It breaks, and nobody knows how to fix it. It happened time and time again. It was hilarious to see, but it's the fact of the matter. And it says, Culture was saying, they don't retain any of the knowledge from next person to next person.
Yeah, look, and you have to preserve people. It's look, churn in anything is bad for the most part. You try to eliminate or reduce churn down to the lowest possible levels. Regardless, when it comes to CD Projekt Red, they clearly are not leaning into their best assets. The Red engine is one of the greatest engines ever created. I can't imagine moving away from it, right?
They had the problems they had in Cyberpunk because they went off and did their own thing. They had the problems with The Witcher because they went off and did their own engine. They wouldn't have had the same problems. EA said the same thing. Ubisoft said, every one of these companies besides Capcom and their RE engine said, well, including BioWare, when they made Andromeda, a lot of the problems we had were we didn't understand the engine, and we didn't know how to use Frostbite, and we didn't know how to use the Red thing, and we didn't know how to use this in the engine. All of this would have been moot if they'd have never developed their own crap and just stuck with the Unreal engine. Because it worked.
True story.
Imagine like a construction worker being like, I don't know how to use a hammer.
No, okay, so let's sidestep the engine issues and say that just as they lacked foresight when it came to their own engine development and the turnover that they're allowing in their companies, which is what makes the engine a problem, they're being short-sighted when they're telling their audience that they don't do any of the things that they absolutely have broadcast that they do. So, according to Endymion, as I'm told, CD Projekt Red right now is in a very tough spot. They are apparently hoping that their pedigree is going to carry these games to millions in sales. Yeah, he added, I truly hope whatever comes from the next Witcher or Cyberpunk, that it is a repeat of the 2077, isn't a repeat of the 2077 launch, because they can't afford another disaster like that again. And he's correct. Eventually, taking notice of Endymion's video, I bet he did. Have you noticed how every one of these videos he's been putting out are like 100,000 views or more? Anyway.
Yeah.
Nowakowski would reply to the YouTubers.
To be fair, when you blow up, like when you make those kind of claims and you do a really good title,
thumbnail,
that's what can happen.
Yeah, thumbnail and title. Yeah, true story. Yeah, how about you write thumbnails and titles for me, Spencer? You want to do that?
You couldn't afford me, Culture.
Dude, I have $6.
Damn, you can afford 3 of me.
Anyway, eventually he did notice on October 11th, roughly 2 days after the video's premiere, taking to his personal Twitter account, oopsie, the studio CEO asserted, seems we live in times where anyone can record complete nonsense and make a story out of it. CDPR talent leaving? We have the lowest rotation of people in recent years. DEI-driven recruitment, we hire based on merit and talent alone, just as we make games driven by artistic vision alone. Why did we choose Unreal Engine? Because it enables us to work on our games more efficiently and we remain cutting-edge tech-wise. The Witcher 3's director left? Yeah, more than 2 years ago. Now, he ultimately concluded, we can stop looking for conspiracy theories and go back to making cool stuff. I don't know, can you? because almost every single statement he made can be refuted with information. And it says, however, despite Nowakowski's adamant denial that the studio does not engage with such DEI-driven hiring practices, it should be noted, and this is well done on your part, that CD Projekt Red's own website features a giant section describing both their diversity and inclusion initiatives as well as their overall ESG goals. To this end, in the subsection regarding the company's material sustainability issues, CD Projekt Red states that one of their social pillars is strengthening the DEI culture at CD Projekt Red by, among others, fostering inclusive leadership. Well, wow, Spencer.
Got him.
Was this hard to find?
Right there.
Was this hard to find?
No, it's literally like you go to their site, and I think there's like an investor relations section, and you click that, and there's just a big old like our goals or whatever, and it's right there, and you can just see it.
Right. And look, further, their business and ethics standards literature also explicitly notes that the company follows the United Nations, what a terrible organization, terrible thing to try to emulate, guiding principles on business and human rights, a set of guidelines which outright states the guiding principles should be implemented on a non-discriminatory manner, with particular attention to the rights and needs of, as well as the challenges faced by individuals from groups or populations that may be at heightened risk of becoming vulnerable or marginalized, and with due regard to the different risks that may be faced by women and men. Okay, then. So there it is. These are their social pillars.
Yeah, he's been caught lying.
NGOs? No, run away from NGOs. They are often corrupt organizations founded for not good means, or not good, not good actions, I should say. Regardless, this was very well done, and thank you for that, Spencer. So ultimately, I think the conclusion is the CEO is full of bologna sausage. Anybody else have a different conclusion?
That's the only conclusion that you can come to. But apparently not.
No, my conclusion is that I don't have a definitive conclusion, but I still sort of sit on what you were saying at the very beginning, Culture, which is A, he's either outright lying, or B, he is the world's most unaware CEO. Because if we parse that language, he says we don't hire based on DEI. And all of what they're and this is that deceptive sort of wordplay these institutions and these programs always use, right? He says we don't hire based on that. We hire based on merit. And while I can believe that, the fact of the matter is the fact that the website and all of their corporate edicts or whatever contain this information means that at the very least, even if he thinks that every hiring decision he is making is coming in, or let me rephrase that. If he thinks that, because he's probably not doing it himself, but if he genuinely thinks that every hiring decision in his company is being made purely on merit with none of this consideration, that's complete baloney. Now, he could have first of all, he could have said nothing. Second of all, he could have said, while we have to abide by this, while this is here, this is what I do. The fact that he doesn't acknowledge that it's even there, and he's clearly framing it in such a way that is, oh no, you guys are crazy. That's not here at all. That's the part where I'm like, you're either willfully lying to us or you're really, really stupid, and that doesn't inspire confidence in your leadership. So yeah, I don't have a definitive take, but I'm not so far on lying. I think there's that other one. I think it could be either of them, but yeah, it's not good no matter where it goes.
Yeah, and I think it's just it exposes him as being incapable of discernment. And
that's a good way to put it. Yes.
And he's also he's going to disillusion more people along the way and disenfranchise them when it comes to games that his studios produce. So again, I mean, it's I used a lot of D words there, but I'm refraining from calling him a D word at the moment because this is a PG stream. But anyway,
practices aside, every single corporation right now is promoting and elevating people not on merit.
Yeah,
every single one. They all have these initiatives. They all have this push. It's the same push California made when they were like, you have to have so many of this on your board, and you have to have so many of these people, and you have to have so many of this. That is what is being elevated through these companies instead of this person kicked butt, took names, and they deserve this promotion. No, they're not getting a promotion based on the work they've done. They're getting a promotion on what skin color they have, what orientation they proclaim they are, whether or not they go out in a dress or in pants. That's what they're getting. That's what they're getting the promotions and the raises for.
And we can't operate in a world like that. And it's also, illegal in this country. So it is what it is. Final thoughts, gentlemen, because we need to move on to these super chats. We've got patient people out there. No,
I got nothing.
No takers. All right, very good.
I did my last one.
Well, you know what? My one comment on this was I am very curious as to how the next Witcher game is going to perform, because I'm wondering with how down everyone is on the IP right now, thanks to the Netflix show, thanks to Henry Cavill's exit, and thanks to now everything to do with the studios, because as we have learned from the way games have been performing lately, gamers do pay attention to this stuff. Is the next Witcher game, Witcher 4, whatever it's going to be, is it going to succeed or is it going to bomb spectacularly?
Well, we know it's going to star Ciri, right? Well, there's no doubt in my mind. She's going to be
the game.
Geralt won't be the main.
Exactly. Or he'll be a background character.
Well, so, no, I think that the games and the show are very clearly two very different things. It's with different creative teams. It's just a matter of whether people are just burnt out on the on the property. So that'll be interesting to see. And if that goes down, CD Projekt Red is dead.
Yeah, because absent the new Cyberpunk game that they're working on being fast and here quickly and or be good, they're done. I can't imagine another property they own that people will be jumping on top of. But anyway, let's jump into the super chat. Speaking of jumping into things, Pinochet's helicopter tours. Thank you, my friend. YT creators have 4 months to preempt the Black History Month excuse, and he's talking back to the first or second story we talked about, which was the Yasuke situation and the fact that they are pushed that game back to obviously polish a turd.
March next year, I think.
That's February 14th.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's coming out the same day as It's coming out the same day as the Tomb Raider sequel remastered games are coming out. So
Nolan, you missed the obvious joke. It's coming out the same day as Captain America: Brave New World. So you on the way to the theater to take your date to see that movie and celebrate Black culture. You can also stop at GameStop and pick up your deluxe edition of Assassin's Creed and show how true of an ally you really are.
And Tomb Raider, women.
There's someone to someone in their significant other just needs to go in front of a GameStop, get like a tux, get like a wedding gown, and do like a makeshift wedding with Assassin's Creed in front of it, celebrating this fine achievement.
Somebody's going to.
Regardless, you're going to end up with all of those things happening on the same day, and none of them benefiting from it. I'm sorry, you cannot pretend. That you can shield yourself from criticism by releasing in a given month. It is what it is. But anyway, back to it. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Pinochet, who is still firmly, according to the guide right now, is sitting in second place. That's right. We got second place right now. Machiny draws in first. And why is this one wrong? I don't know. I'll fix it. Sorry, guys. Let me get rid of it. But anyway, it's they flip-flopped. So it's Machiny draws in first, Pinochet in second, and a tie for third with Clive Griffiths and many others. So thank you for your contributions, folks. We truly do appreciate them. I'm going to get the chart updated and move on to the next super chat, which is actually from Machiny Draws for $20 worth of tokens. My goodness, that's pizza, guys. You guys want to order a pizza?
Let's do it.
Stuffed
crust, baby.
That's right. The blatant attempt to gaslighting in Demion has made me close to swearing off anything from CD Projekt Red, as they are they're just not being honest and respectful. I hope that I'm wrong, as I always want to give Cyberpunks a second chance. Me too.
Well, it reeks of Kevin Smith attacking Clownfish, right? Where he was like very clearly lying, and it was very instantly provable that he was lying.
Yeah, but to me, it's just not really. Some of that has to do with intellect, and intellectual honesty.
Lack thereof.
Yeah, exactly. So when somebody like Kevin Smith does it, I'm like, well, you have the credibility of like a horsefly, But yeah. Anyway, thank you,
JJ
Machini.
did the same thing with Into Darkness. JJ did the same thing with Star Trek. Oh, that's not Khan. That's not Khan. Oh no, that's not Khan. Oh, it's Khan.
Yeah, of course.
Benedict
There you go.
Cumberbatch. That's all I've got.
That was a nightmare movie.
Well, thank you for that. Let's get back to the corrected chart now. We have that's still not it. What is happening right now?
What'd you do? What did you do?
I don't know. I feel like I'm Ray and I bypassed the compressor.
I think you got to go back to the Unreal Engine, personally.
I bypassed some compressor. I've never been in the Millennium Falcon before, but I fixed your engine. I did it better than you did.
There you go.
Another nightmare movie.
There's a lot of bad movies.
Yeah. Well, Pinochet for $5 in tokens says, again, what happens to all the useless activists that got jobs and were fired? They just recycle from woke to woke. A free agent list will be all wokies, perhaps. But I think companies are going to figure this out. I mean, there really isn't a.
I think you give them too much credit, honestly.
They can't put they were a worthless employee because they hired them for DEI. So they've got to give them like a good out of the door exit review, and then go, you know what? They're the next company's problem, and move along. They will to the next company.
But I think you're going to see a lot of these people not getting rehired in the gaming industry. Look at Chris Kindred. You think anyone's going to pick up him or any of the other sweet baby morons that are getting fired left and right or leaving the company? Because I mean.
They will.
We're hearing from some former Sweet Baby employees that they can't find work specifically because they worked for Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah.
Is that an
No,
assumption?
okay, I know that
or-
story. That story was taken completely so. That was an employee of Sweet Baby, the exact or a former employee of Sweet Baby, the same one who was cited by Wall Street Journal as the Japanese what was it expert consultant who always works with Japanese audiences for their Assassin's Creed article. They went on they did a Twitch stream and they were talking about sort of their experiences. They didn't say anything about not getting jobs. They just said that their work with Sweet Baby gets brought up a lot because people are getting fearful of the backlash. So people ask them, but they're not being denied specifically, but it is a topic that is coming up.
That makes sense.
It does. Fair enough. All right. Well, we've got another couple to get to, and then Marvin's going to cover some stuff for us. So we're going to let him run here in just 3 more super chats. That's right. We've got Angmar.
Really? I was making a joke.
No, 100%. Yeah, we got 3 or 4 Dragon Age stories to cover. So yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, Angmar WK for $5 worth of tokens says to add Spencer and Loki's. I remember back in the 2020 in New York, they didn't have any devs that could work with Pascal or Prologue as well. Yeah, that's true. There were a lot of. I mean, I used to, like you said. I mean, if you knew how to do COBOL, Fortran, Pascal, any of these things, you could get paid because they needed software fixed pronto to make it through. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Anyway, they needed it back in 2000 too. You used to be able to get these gigs.
They're going to need it in the future too. If anybody's looking for a career path, Zoomers don't know anything about computers. They don't know how to do file paths. So
they don't know how to do anything. Period. I mean, I read an article recently that Zoomers are just getting fired left and right from every job ever because people are like, I can't believe how bad of employees they are.
Well, they want to make that. They want to make that big money. They want to
be transparent.
Big money.
My kids come to me about their phones. They're the Gen Zs, and I'm a Gen Xer, and I'm like, why do I know more about this stuff than you guys? You're supposed to be the tech savvy, but all they do is look at the phone and swipe. There's no.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's
a lot of it is the fault of the companies too. Like you have to look at like Apple. They go deliberately out of their way to make sure no one can break into their phones to like repair them because they want to have the monopoly on it. They go into college and they leave with like a gender studies degree. Like once they exploited them for their money, they're done with them, and then they go in the world not knowing what to do. It's tragic.
Well, there's no problem solving, right? Because the analytical mind has been destroyed, and there's no inherent curiosity like when I was growing up. I wanted to know how everything worked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I
and-
took apart
me
my
too.
first computer at the age of 5 because I want to know how the dang thing went together, and putting it back together was a fun deal. But yes.
That's wild. That's wild. But thank you for that, Super. We appreciate it, Angmar. You're amazing. We got Radio Drago. What's up? For £5 sterling, proper money, ladies and gentlemen, for our tokens today. There's a saying in the music industry that I believe needs to migrate to the movie and game industry. And that is, you're only as good as your last gig. Boom. Yeah. So if you left a company that had a massive failure and you were applying for a job, I think, to me, I would be rather skeptical of your abilities. Why? Because you worked at a company that had a massive failure, right? You were part of that massive failure. It seems logical, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for that, Radio Drago. And finally, we get to Pinochet's helicopter tours for $2. Says we must stop accepting ignorance as an excuse. I don't accept it at all.
I agree.
And that's top down, man. That's like start at the CEO, work your way down. It's enough of that. So.
Yeah, well, you need to start at the bottom and work your way up. Look, there is no excuse for a CEO of a grocery chain to never have bagged groceries.
Exactly. Yep.
So, I'm sorry. I value merit and experience more than I value any kind of education. I know that seems odd. There are only a few occupations I think that should have that inverse, and a lot of them are, medical fields and other things.
Let's say
similar.
surgeons. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
watched a YouTube video. What are you talking?
Yeah. If you're in a specialty and it's a precision specialty, that's a different conversation. But if you're an auto mechanic, I would rather have the guy that's been working on his own car for 25 years than, the guy that just, graduated, because he's not going to think everything. He's not going to look for the simplest problem. A lot of people dive headlong into diagnostics, not knowing, what's the most common reason that this thing happens, because they haven't seen this thing before. But the guy with 25 years of experience has seen it hundreds of times. Who do you want to do your thing? What's going to cost you less? Because the guy that's worked for 25 years is going to do it faster. He's going to earn your shop more money, and he's going to earn himself more money. It's the way it works. Anyway, we keep going. Way off topic. Marvin, it's your turn to lead the club that's made for you and me.
All right. Well, I think you have to put it on screen. There we go.
I did. Yeah.
One of my favorite topics ever: Dragon Age: The Veilguard. This article comes to us from That Park Place from John F. Trent. Dragon Age: The Veilguard retail pre-orders 3 times less than Star Wars Outlaws, noted bomb Star Wars Outlaws, and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is admittedly a great game that's kicking a lot of butt right now. So the Craig Skistimas, that's another great name, aka Stuttering Craig, the owner and host of the Side Scrollers podcast, revealed that his retail insider has shared with him that Dragon Age: The Veilguard has only received a total of 1,957 pre-orders between PS5 and Xbox. He wrote on X, between both the gold and standard editions in their 800 plus stores, they have just under 2,000 pre-orders between PS5 and Xbox. Since PS5 is 1,552, Xbox 405, for a total of 1,957. That's an incredibly low number. But it's still an increase from the 1,069 that Stuttering Craig reported had been pre-ordered back in September. So, guys, nobody seems to want this game. I wonder why.
Now, mind you, Marvin, if you wouldn't mind reminding everybody, we did a video about this, pre-sales from a different chain that was actually rather popular. You want to recount the numbers we were coming across, because they weren't good.
Oh gosh, I don't. I mean, I know. I believe Apollo said that his source from the retail chain, they said they had like no pre-orders of the Ultimate Edition, and very few pre-orders of the regular. I don't remember the exact numbers that he said, because it was more than a day ago, and I'm a goldfish. But they were not good. These numbers are not good. Nobody wants this game before hearing about anything about it. So, all A retail insider who manages over 900 stores also shared with that marketplace that these numbers are 3 times less than what Spike Chunsoft's Dragon Ball Sparking Zero did in the lead up to its release on October the 10th. The insider shared that Sparking Zero had a total of 5,952 total pre-orders on the Friday before the game released. October 4th, there were a total of 5,538 PS5 and 414 Xbox pre-orders. Man, nobody's playing Xbox.
Hey,
playing on PC.
Yeah.
Be nice.
Furthermore, the insider shared that the pre-orders might have actually been higher for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, but they actually sold out of the Ultimate Edition for PS5, thus it was not available to pre-order. That's interesting. I got the Ultimate Edition of Sparking Zero, and no regrets except for the fact that apparently it doesn't come with everything. So,
does it feel flattering to be on that chart, that very small number? You're on there proudly.
Well, I mean, I ordered it not through a retail store. So, for reference, Bandai Namco recently confirmed that Sparking Zero sold 3 million copies in its first 24 hours.
Wow.
That's insane. That is an insanely good launch. Spencer, you're still playing, right? Oh, is Spencer not here? Okay, Spencer's not here.
Spencer died.
So, yeah. As another point of comparison, the retailer insider shared that Star Wars.
I was in the middle of a parking match. What are you talking about? It was intense.
How you doing on it?
Doing well. Still, I wish I had more time to play this game. I have to go to a wedding this weekend, and I'm like, I'm gonna break you two up, so I just have more time to play Sparking.
Just bring it to the wedding.
At this point, I have the PC one, so it's a little unwieldy.
You can
make it happen.
As another point of comparison, the retailer insider shared that Star Wars Outlaws total pre-orders topped Sparking Zero's with 6,469, and there were 5,341 pre-orders for PS5 and 1,398 for Xbox. Ubisoft admitted that Star Wars Outlaws sales were softer than expected and slashed its net bookings by 30% for the quarter from 500 million euros to that's euros, right? To 350 to 370 million. Not only did it slash its net bookings for the quarter, but it indicated that its net bookings for the entire year would only hit 1.95 billion and around break even, non-IFRS operating income and free cash flow. This is guys, this is big. Dragon Age: The Veilguard, it seems like nobody wants this game. Thoughts?
Didn't you pre-order this?
I did.
That's my only thought too.
I understand that the rampant. I pre-ordered it for you guys because I'm gonna review it here for this channel. So somebody on this panel had to play it, and I didn't want it to be any of you because you're my friends, and I wanted to spare you the horror.
Well, thank you.
Made it, Kevin.
Well, no, we're both gonna play it because we both have to play it. He plays much different. He plays way different than I do in choice-based games.
So we're gonna have to do a joint review between the two of you. I will be happy to lead that as a video for everybody. So
that's fine.
I think that'll be fun. And Loki's going to be playing something for us too. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Well, we got I got anybody who loves BattleTech MechWarrior. I actually got an early copy because I was a backer of MechWarrior 5. I got a early release copy of Clans. So I'm actually going to do some recording of that either today or tomorrow.
Sweet.
And
I love it
so far.
I haven't played one in a while.
There is a scene in the game of Ilkhan Flowers doing the "We're going to march to Terra" speech, and it is awesome. So I was so excited when I saw that when all the cons are together and they're like, "We're gonna go to Terra and we're gonna take back Earth." I was like, "Holy smokes!" They actually did it. I didn't like the idea of being a smoked jaguar, but considering the little bit of time I've got to spend with it, it's looking really good and it's looking really fun. So it might not be, the biggest, hottest game out there, but at least they're still dedicated to making good games.
Fantastic.
And that's the important thing. But back to this game, it doesn't sound like anybody here cares all that much for this game. It doesn't sound like it's selling at all. And it doesn't sound like anybody's interested. How can you make a Dragon Age game that nobody wants to play?
Well, you do exactly what this creative team did, Culture. You inject it with identity politics. You take away, I would say, arguably the most the most sought after and beloved feature in any BioWare game, the ability to carry over your decisions from one game to the next. Because as we learned recently, the Dragon Age Keep system, which was a website that you would go to and you would input all the choices that you made in a Dragon Age game, and then it saves it to the server, and then you were able to connect your game to the server, and it imports all of your choices into the game therein, so that you're playing your customized world still. They have done away with that system entirely for this game. In Mass Effect, it was easier because it was all in the same system, because they came out and they didn't come out 15 years apart. So you were able to just kind of, use your save game file to import your decisions from one game to the next. But now your decisions matter jack squat. Who did you choose to be the Divine in Inquisition? Who cares? What did you do? What did your Inquisition do? How did you leave this kingdom of Ferelden and the Empire of Olay? How did you leave them? Who cares? We're going to be in a different part of the world right now. We're not going to focus on that, because the last thing anybody wants in a BioWare game nowadays, guys, is choice.
I don't think that's true. But
no, I'm being very sarcastic. I'm being.
He's true. It's true if you just don't care about BioWare anymore and you don't care about the games anymore. Then nobody really cares about the choice system in BioWare, because no one cares about their games anymore.
I can't see who I chose as the Divine, but I can see scars from elective surgeries.
Let me ask, what was the last good BioWare game?
Mass Effect.
Jade Empire.
Jade Empire came out a long time ago, but it was fantastic.
I know.
I would say Mass Effect 2 is a masterpiece. Mass Effect 3 is good up until the last 10 minutes of it.
The combat in Mass Effect 3 is excellent.
It's so good, and it's so fun, and the DLC was all so good. The Citadel DLC, the Leviathan, it was all fantastic. It's just that last 10 minutes. That last little bit, that's where the game falls apart. And unfortunately, sticking the landing is the thing that you have to do if you want your game to be good from a narrative perspective. So I would say probably Mass Effect 2 was their last big hit. Dragon Age Inquisition, people generally like Dragon Age Inquisition, I think, right? I haven't heard too much bad about it.
I didn't, but that was just me. I saw them going away from the old style. I wasn't a big fan of 2 either. I loved 1. I liked 2. I didn't like Inquisition. So
fair enough. Fair enough. So
that's fair enough.
With all that being said, I'll just say this. I think that this game is doomed. I think BioWare may actually be doomed. And I don't know. Do you guys have an argument with that? I think BioWare is in big trouble.
I think that EA is going to gloriously pull the plug on them after this. The only thing that might save EA is the fact that it does have another Mass Effect game coming down the pipeline, supposedly, depending on how far into development they are, or they might just pull the plug entirely. Because, again, it's very clear that the people that made Mass Effect, the people that made Jade Empire, the people that made Knights of the Old Republic, those people are no longer associated with modern BioWare.
None of them. They're all gone.
I believe that.
That's the story for almost every good franchise nowadays. So whether it be Halo or anything else, very rare to have turnover.
It becomes the ship of Theseus. If you replace every single piece of that ship, is it still the same ship? No, it's not. We learned it with Rocksteady.
Well, both Spencer and Nolan have been unusually quiet. Nolan, have you ever played any of these BioWare games or have a particular feeling one way or another?
No, I can't say I have a big attachment, but as someone who's been a gamer, I know BioWare as a company had always been held in such a high regard. Even with what Marvin was talking about earlier with Mass Effect 3, even back then with all the backlash going on with the ending and them having to come out with the DLC to try to fix the ending, quote unquote, it was seen as a gold standard. I remember when Force Awakens was coming out, how people were implementing stuff from the Mass Effect games in some of their promotional mock-up of what a new Star Wars movie could look like, because it was almost like peak what sci-fi could be right now, because Star Wars had been dormant, Star Trek was out, and I don't think it was just a matter of here, hold my beer while I'm out doing things. They created a legacy. And BioWare is such a tragic tale the day it eventually shuts down, because I just seen it over and over again. I know Dave was saying that this kind of recent thing. I've seen it with most of the developers I grew up with. Usually everyone either leaves, or more likely they got bought out by another company and it's a shell of itself. And next thing you know, Raven's Blade, whatever it's called, that made the Jedi Knight games back on the GameCube, the Star Wars games. Oh, they're making Call of Duty now. Oh, what happened to Pandemic? Oh, they got absorbed. It just happens again and again. And I'm more interested in seeing where those old devs went than anything these new companies do, because they're just going to eat themselves alive and there's nothing to blame but them.
Understood.
Well
Spencer,
said.
any thoughts? Yay, nay? Booyah?
I mean, I was the one who brought up Jade Empire, but no, not really any thoughts. I outside of KOTOR and the like Jade Empire and Neverwinter Nights, I haven't really played a lot of, like, I'm not a big sword and sorcery guy, like, outright. I have my exceptions. I like Lord of the Rings, I like Zelda, but for the most part, so like, yeah, you go, we're going to go on a high elf adventure with magic. I'm like, put a space helmet on them. Maybe we'll talk. So I have no attachment to Dragon Age. I agree with Marvin overall that I think it's insanely, bizarrely stupid that you're taking away. Like, if they'd have said, okay, this is a new Dragon Age game in a new Dragon Age sort of like saga, right? Like, okay, those other Dragon Age games, those end there. This is a new story. Now you don't, like, you're starting over with a whole new narrative so that your decisions obviously don't carry over. That would have been dumb, but it would have made more sense here. But going, this is a direct sequel to that adventure that you guys all played, but it doesn't really matter. That is just, you're not, like, if that doesn't show that you're not, that's not BioWare anymore, I don't know what does. Like, Marvin's sarcastic quip at the beginning pretty much sums up the entire situation. Isn't this what everybody wants? If there's one thing people don't want from a BioWare game, it's decisions. That's the fact that seems to be the directive order now is insane.
But you do get to make decisions. You're going to get some top scars. But we've got to jump on to the next couple of Ubisoft stories. But I want to jump on the super chats real quick related to this, because we've got a lot. The chat's been on fire. We missed this one when T Neal popped in for $5 in tokens. Motive also counts for a lot here because it colors the subsequent actions referring to the previous story. You're 100% right. The motivation is key. Why would you be trying to mislead everybody about what your company is doing when in regards to hiring its talent and making your games? I mean, CD Projekt Red trying to hide a lot of really bad actions that gamers are going to hate. I don't know. I don't disagree with that. We got one more from Base Player 2011 Iffy for $5 more in tokens. It's been said, 10 years since it's been 10 years since the last Dragon Age game. While it was popular, after a while they fell out of the lexicon. Yeah, and the showcase didn't help. No, it did not. I agree with that. It's been absent for too long. Anybody else think that's the right answer here?
They could have had a game out earlier. It has been confirmed, right, that the reason why half of it looks one way and the other half looks another way is because another team came in and actually finished the game and inserted a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't there to begin with.
I think Sea of Thieves started development the last time we had a Dragon Age game.
So, I mean, if they could have gotten a game out earlier and then they switched gears and said, you know what, we're going to do this thing differently, that may have stopped all this from happening. They didn't do that. They shifted gears. They took whatever partial game they had made and made this giant glittering rainbow mess of a game. Every time you take someone out, oh, glitter bomb. That's what everybody wants, is a glitter bomb when you behead a bad guy. And this is what you get. They made
the original God of War Greek saga, like the 4 games in that, in a total of 5 years. The first one released in 2005, the last God of War 3, 2010. We have lost something in this industry.
Yes, absolutely. Spencer's dead on.
Team sizes have ballooned. I mean, have you noticed that? They have more efficient, better tools.
I mean, that's not a correlation, but yeah, they have.
But you have better tools, right? More efficient tools. You have higher horsepower machines, even in rendering your cutscenes, right? The CGI mini movies that are between things. All of that should be cheaper, faster.
All the red tape, all the BS, all the politics, all the drama. Look what I mentioned this when we were talking about Jonas's favorite video game ever, Mass Effect, when they were working on that in Canada in that small little office where they had a dozen guys. Yeah. Guess what, culture? I don't have to go to the top floor CEO's office and wait for 2 hours and then be like, hey, we've got this problem. Can we talk? Oh, next week? Okay. I can go directly to you and be like, culture, we've got a problem in the next room. And you can walk in and go, what is it? Oh, I'm just doing this line of code and I can't figure this out. Oh, well, just do. Done. And a 2-month problem at Ubisoft with 18,000 employees is fixed in less than a minute because I can go, hey, culture, I need your help. Thank you.
The worst
12 guys are working on a game.
The worst thing that ever happened to BioWare was getting bought by EA. It was the kiss of death.
That's the same on a lot of companies.
Lose out on that sense of a lot of people working for a common good. That's why the old Halo games, like the original stuff up until Reach, were so good because that everyone at Bungie, they were like family with each other. You know, they were still treating it like a job, but they were having fun. They were passionate. They put little Easter eggs in their games. Nowadays, when everything just comes so corporatized and everyone's afraid of what they can say and afraid of getting fired, you'll lose that.
True story. And Pinochet rolls in saying game companies get comfortable with no pre-orders. Yeah. If you want us to get comfortable with not owning our games, get comfortable with us not buying your games, especially pre-ordering your games. What do you guys think? Pretty smart statement.
I agree.
Can't agree more.
I agree.
100%.
T. Neal again for another $2 in tokens. Mass Effect 3's ending is fine as long as you mod it out. I agree. There's actually better endings that you can have out there for sure. Bass player again for $4.99. One of the few exceptions in regards to the original team staying is God of War, which we just talked about a second ago, and even that didn't really help that much. True.
Yep.
True. Angmar WK for $5 in tokens says, question for the panel. What game, in your opinion, from any platform was good, but never got the credit it desered? Spencer.
Tokyo Jungle.
I knew he'd be ready and rocking. How about you there, Nolan? What do you think?
Pretty much any Dead or Alive game. People just think of the volleyball games, but they don't realize how the fighting games are legit some of the best fighting games put ever. Their visuals are amazing, the gameplay is gripping, and the series is so irrelevant. Like, you pull up like 5 or 6 on like a PC and check the online lobbies, and there's like 2 people playing. It's dead. Like, it doesn't get enough credit.
Well, 6 got rid of the tag team. That was one of the best things about Dead or Alive games was the tag team action you could do with a group of fighters, and they took all that out. They swore, they said, we will get to this. We will give you, we know it's what you want. We didn't have enough time to implement it correctly. We will give it to you. And over $1,000 worth of DLC later, yeah, we're not going to do it because, we just don't have it's too big. The game's too big. We filled it full of schoolgirl outfits and junk that you'll never need that cost you like $1,300 for every bit of DLC we have. But we're not going to finish tag team mode because you guys don't really need it. Used to be on the disc. Ugh.
Well, that was interesting. Let's do this.
My game that never got the love it deserved was The Legend of Legaia. It was a RPG for the PS1. And I loved that game.
Did Space Dave give us his?
No.
I'm going to age myself. I'm going to go Bionic Commando on the original NES. Take that.
Well, there you go.
What are you talking about? Never got to do. It got a remake. It got 2 remakes. It got Spencer into
but when it first came out, it was not as big a hit.
I'm just teasing. I'm totally just teasing.
And the remakes weren't as good as the original. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. And for me, I'm going to go simple. Thief.
Yeah, that's my.
Thief,
that would have been my
good
first
ball.
choice. That's a good choice.
Thief is one of those that I just feel like never got the love it needed. It was one of my favorite stealth games, and I loved to play that kind of a character. And the lore around it was brilliant, and the fact that we didn't get a third one is heartbreaking. So
it was one of the best immersive games of its time. It was
dude. It properly used sound, positioning, problem solving. The platforming, it used everything that it could to give you
and the same voice actor over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. He was wonderful, but it's just a shame, and I'm bummed out. But anyway, moving on. Thank you, Angmar. That was a great question. For $2 in tokens, we've got T-Neil89 once again on his still 10th super chat on the channel. Thank you for that. I don't know how he gets glitched. He is like the most glitched person ever when it comes to the number count, but at every stream.
He super chatted on my stream the other night, and it still said 10th super chat. It was his first time ever.
It's so great.
He's the missing no of like the chats. It's crazy.
He's amazing. Love him. But anyway, for $2 says, can't wait for Liara to discuss pronouns in Mass Effect 5. Yes.
She was always
gouge my eyes out now.
She was always a she and a her throughout 3 games. If they pull that nonsense,
the Asari are 100% going to be non-binary because they're already supposedly they're supposed to be genderless, but they're all very much female, and they all call themselves she, her, matriarch, sisters, huntress. Yeah. So it's be very interesting if they start trying to throw in pronouns and stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, literally pronouns in the bio. Anyway, so yeah. All right. So Gary, there was a good joke and you got it. So anyway, so Gory-Eyed Beast. I almost said Gary-Eyed Beast. My glasses. I need to clean my glasses. For $5 Canadian in tokens. I didn't put it up there, did I? No, there we go. There it is. I don't mean this to sound like a critique, just asking, are we going to cover board games, card games, RPG games, etc. on TGP eventually? Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
Really?
In fact, I think we're all planning to cover Uno at some point.
I love Uno.
Maybe not Uno, but we will definitely be. I have keen interest in Cyberpunk, so you can probably get me to talk about that forever.
I hate board games.
I was talking about a tabletop RPG.
I don't like those either.
If you're talking card games, the Final Fantasy trading card game, I've got like every box from every season, including the pre-order boxes.
I have
that had special cards in it. So I'm
missing for One Piece and both Dragon Ball games and Gundam. I play pretty much anything that's out there. Ultraman started. Tens
of thousands of Magic cards. So we don't. Yeah, I have got stuff that I have beta lands that I play regular games with all the time. Before the game,
if we start playing Pokemon, I'm out of here. I'm sorry, but
no. But we actually are going to try.
I'm down to play Pokemon.
Oh, we're going to try. We're going to try to recruit some folks that have even more expertise in this area. So yeah, the team is going to grow. I like my little team of 10 now, but I think we'll get more folks together here in the future. But yeah, so eventually you will get conversation around that. Some of us are really keen on it. And if you want Comics Division and I, there are words put together in a sentence. We together will do conversations around Cyberpunk and maybe Vampire the Masquerade and a few other of those RPG games. So yeah. Anyway, we got an enormously generous amount of tokens. This is 50 pounds sterling proper money. This is a lot of tokens. In fact, this might even be the ability to rent the arcade for an hour, guys. Rent the arcade for an hour. But
having a birthday party.
That's right. It's
for Dave.
Space Dave's birthday. Jade Empire was good, but was way too short. KOTOR was my favorite game. I think, I don't know, Spencer, KOTOR was
Knights of the Old Republic.
Knights of the Old Republic. I love that one.
The first
one.
No.
I was going to say, is that's up there, right? That's one of your top 10s because I know it's one of mine.
I love that game. Maybe not top 10 of all time, but it's a very, 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 very
I
good one up there.
I was very
Let me
excited.
blast the meat bag, master, and save you the trouble.
I was very excited for the remake of it before that got completely kiboshed.
They killed it. Yeah.
Why did they kibosh that? Sorry, refresh my.
Nobody knows. I don't
They
think
claim it's still in the works, but we'll see.
Money.
Everything we've heard about,
I would
though,
assume because they only wanted
Revan
Revan to be black and female and wouldn't budge on the fact.
Well, they pulled down. There was a fan mod that looked absolutely amazing. Let me tell you, there was a fan remake that was being made that looked absolutely amazing. And
really?
Oh yeah, you can do your research. He got a letter from EA and from Disney saying cease and desist everything. We are in the middle of working on a remaster, exactly what you're doing in your spare time now. Do not make us pursue legal avenues to stop you from doing what you're doing. So they stopped a guy that was doing the work for free so they could do the work, and then they didn't do the work. You can't make that up.
It's typical Disney, but he goes on to say,
it's still in the works though, guys. It's not done.
Okay.
Saber Interactive CEO Matt Karch just said like last week that they're still working on it.
Oh, really?
Good. Okay. All right. So yeah, Karch. Well, they not only that, they have 3 expansions coming for Space Marine 2.
Oh yeah, have you seen that? Have you seen the expansion stuff?
Yeah, they just dropped, right? We got to do a story on that. Anyway, so he also says Mass Effects 1 and 2 put them on the map. That's true as far as BioWare goes. And I believe Dragon Age Origin, yes, I believe was their most passionate game. They had Baldur's Gate 3 level of detail in that game. They did. There were some game stopping bugs though when it came out originally, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that.
I ran into a few that
the other one I remember
error failed on me all the time. Go ahead.
Andromeda was the only one I remember with game stopping bugs.
That was awful. Wow, what a not Mass Effect game.
Your face looks tired, Culture.
Well, thank you. It does?
It's
a Mass Effect Andromeda.
It's the Mass Effect Andromeda thing. My face is tired, Commander. What? What did she just say?
Yeah,
she said my face is tired.
The woman had a completely paralyzed face in the game. Like there was no motion ever read on the animation for her face. And so they wrote in, instead of fixing the animation, they wrote in a line about the fact that her face is tired.
Well, I would say it was. We got an amazing super sticker from Samuel Maine for $3. It's a pair giving us the thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs ups, go down there. Hit the thumbs up button for us. If you're liking the show so far, and you're enjoying the live stream, thank you for being here. We will be here always, or well, maybe not always, but barring a time change and day change, we'll be here. We want to keep doing this forever and ever. Yeah. Or until I'm not here anymore. And then these guys will probably keep going. Anyway, so yeah, what else we got? We got Baculi draws for another 10 in tokens. Dustborn CEO is now trying to play the victim. Oh, I bet. Why can't this game leave me alone? Baculi, come on, you know the answer to that, brother. You know the answer.
Oh, hey, they're gonna release. Sony is gonna release. Oh, what is it? The game that they pulled, Concord.
Again?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't remember where I saw it. I saw it the
Yellow
other day.
Flash. Yellow Flash.
Yellow Flash. I bet you that's what it was. They are prepping the re-release of Concord because they're not done getting their butts kicked for a game that's just not going to sell it.
We promise we'll buy it this time.
Okay, so but here's the weird thing. So let's say you already bought the game once.
You already own it.
Yeah. Do you pop that back in the
buy
thing?
it again?
Okay.
I'm sure it'll have some kind of update or something. Unless you're just.
Oh, wait. No, we're referring to Concord. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, this game is Dustborn. And Baculi says, I'm covering it tomorrow morning. Expect me to get nuclear. All right, bro. I will be there. I will be watching as you draw and entertain people because you are a very talented man. If you haven't checked out Baculi Draw's channel, you should. Dude's gifted and funny. And finally, we have Old Gamer 72 Cutlass. Nice. Xenogears gets a remake. I'll pre-order. Well,
Xenogears gets a remake. I will have a baby on this show. I will have I will have that kind of baby on this show. We can televise it, stream it out to the entire world. If Xenogears ever gets a remake, you guarantee I'll pop one out right here on that gameplace, because yeah, it's never gonna happen.
Oh wow, I wrote down the wrong thing.
Not a remake, a remaster maybe. Maybe they'll do a remaster and put it out on current systems. I wouldn't put that past Square to do something like that, but not a remake.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So instead of an Oldsmobile, it's Olds Gamer 72 Cutlass. That's a great car reference. On that note, we need to move on. We've got a ton of stuff going on. You know what? We need to talk one more Ubisoft story. Do you have the VIP one, Marvin?
The VIP one? No, I didn't have that one. I had the,
okay, I've got it. What else? What one do you got?
Oh, I had another Dragon Age story pulled up. I didn't have the
good
stuff.
Yeah, you wanna throw that up so we can get through the next one?
Sure. It's the one on
a little bit more Dragon Age for you.
Yeah, what about Steam?
Oh, and how poorly it's doing?
Yeah.
I can't wait. Let's take a look at it.
Let's take a look. All right, so we got Dragon Age the Veilguard still outside Steam's top 50 bestsellers with just over 2 weeks until release. Again, from that Park Place by John Trent. So, Steam DB reports Dragon Age the Veilguard has moved up the charts, but not significantly. The game currently sits in the 57th position in Steam's top sellers list and is just inside the top 30 on the most wishlisted upcoming Steam games in the 28th position. A little less than a month ago, the game was just 38th on Steam DB's most wishlisted upcoming Steam game and 80th in the top sellers list. That was on September 20th. So I guess there was a surge, gentlemen. A surge, so to speak. Of note, many of the games that were ahead of it on the most wishlisted items have indeed come out, such as Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Metaphor Refantasio, Throne and Liberty, God of War Ragnarok, The Forever Winter, and Silent Hill 2. So the game's movement from 38th to 28th is likely just because games have come out that were above it, rather than it actually receiving significantly more wish list. That makes a lot of sense. In fact, as noted above, the game only saw an increase of just 1,887 more followers in the last 7 days, and it's only seen an increase of just 6,149 since September the 20th. Not only does it appear to not be tracking well, but a couple of the aforementioned games that were ahead of it are finding fantastic success on Steam and will clearly compete with it, even though they might not be in the same game. Metaphor Refantasio hit an all-time peak of 85,961 concurrent players in just a couple of days after its release date. Atlas also announced that the game had sold over 1 million copies in just its first day as well. It revealed that it was the fastest-selling Atlas title. To put that in context, Atlas developed Persona 5. So it's not that people aren't playing Steam, and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero hit a peak current of 122,554 players on its official release date after hitting over 91,000 in early access. 91,000 in early access, guys, that's pretty darn good. So, furthermore, this is what we talked about before, the pre-orders being very, very bad. But yeah, guys, we are looking at a game that nobody wants yet again. Not only is nobody pre-ordering it in retail stores, nobody is pre-ordering it on Steam. So this is kind of a 1-2 punch. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, do you think there's a difference between the way PC players buy and the way retail store customers buy?
I think they seem to reflect each other. They may not be identical, but I think that evidence for the last several games would suggest what's popular on Steam is also going to be popular in the retail, and what's not is also not. I think that there's a correlation to some extent. I don't know, Spencer. Okay. Loki.
Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised that this is doing so poorly. Right now, one of the games that's ahead of that is MechWarrior 5 Clans. You can't even pay for that yet. You've got to wait until the game comes out. There is no pre-order. You have to wait to get it. You have to wait till later today. That's right now more popular than Dragon Age the Veilguard. So this is gonna be another bomb. It's gonna be another bomb from EA. There's no way around it. BioWare has messed up, and
Yeah.
once the player base sees what you're bringing to the table, they decide whether they're going to pay for the game or not. And if they are not, no, they are not ists, obes, and Yahtzees and all the bad, evil things you want to call them. They just don't want to play your game. Why? Because it looks like a unicorn, a rainbow unicorn threw up in Rainbow Land in one of the Diablo games, in Whimsy Land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I don't want to play Dragon Age Whimsy Land Unicorn Vomit Edition. I want to play a good game that's going to be kick ass and take names and not take any crap from anybody.
Loki, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of that video that we're on right now, that's the person they're aiming this game for. This they them in the bottom left-hand corner, overweight and gender non-conforming or whatever it is. That's their intended audience for this game. It's who they designed this game for, and they're going to find out that while they might be a minority population of the general public, they are an extreme minority population in the gaming community. And
right.
I think most gamers are just going to steer clear of this because gamers are done. Gamergate 2 has, has exploded. And I legitimately think gamers pay. Like you could say with movies, most people that go to the movies, they don't pay attention to like the drama that we report on a lot of our channels. Gamers pay attention to this stuff, and I think that's been reflected by a lot of the sales that we've seen for games recently, especially the things like Star Wars Outlaws. Normally, a game like Star Wars Outlaws, it has the Star Wars name on it. It would have sold well if nobody was paying attention to the
discourse. Marvin, that's not fair because look, that game Outlaws is not a good thing to look at because that brand's already damaged. It's not like Outlaws is coming out at a time when Star Wars is peak and everybody loves it. All the normies already know that Star Wars is like toast. There are a lot, like I agree with your sentiment that video game players are more informed about their hobby than other people, but this also neglects the fact that while the hardcore enthusiasts like us and all of our viewers, like we stay appraised, there is a very giant, huge, significant normie population of video game players who just see, there's a new Call of Duty. Oh, there's a new Assassin's Creed. I'm going to pick it up. I think what we're losing in this conversation here is the economics of it all, which is we are in a bad economic spot. People aren't spending money for these video games, and people are realizing like, look, if it comes down between an experience like this or, paying my car bill, I'm going to have to go and pay my car bill. So the more that these companies refuse to accept that people are altogether being more stringent with what maybe not stringent is the right word, but more selective with what they engage with and what they purchase. But until they acknowledge that and start designing their products that way, you're never going to see a change. They're going to keep flooding the market with stuff people don't want and aren't being bought because people just don't have money. That's a big factor.
Yeah, I guess that's also a thing. Culture, what do you think?
Studios are gonna do what they do. Gamers are gonna do what they do, and Spencer's right. I mean, there is a huge normie population that isn't keeping up with some of the stuff, and they'll be surprised by this. But ultimately, I think that you can look at pre-sales, retail sales, and the whole 9 yards. They're all indicative of what the sales overall are going to be. And I feel like this game might be such a spectacular flop that it'll help us highlight the problems in the industry, and it'll wake up some of those quote unquote normies, Spencer. I think that's what I truly
hope. Yeah.
So
I think the overall Assassin's Creed situation has been waking people up. But I want to make it clear that like, let's not get too hopeful because yes, people are waking up. A lot of people are waking up, but there's still those people out there who are going to be like, Assassin's Creed, okay, I'll buy that. I don't care, whatever.
Right.
Well, there's also the dynamic of what you used to have back in the 90s, back in the 2000s. You could open a gaming magazine and read about, hey, you know what? I spent 10 hours at EA with this game. This is what my thoughts are, and you could go, you know what? I'm gonna give some level of trust here and trust this person knows what they're talking about. You can't do that now. Why? Because they're literally paying everybody. I mean, when I read EGM, Gamer X, all the old gaming magazines, that would be almost like a before I go and rent it and spend the money just to rent it. I'm not even talking about buying it. I'm going to read this review and I'm going to look at this and I'm going to go, you know what?
But pretend like they weren't being influenced when they got, invited to these studios or to big events too is a little off base. Because we've had these conversations in video game media for a long time, since the days of like the N64, the PS1, when the really big shindigs were being thrown. It was, is this ethical? How do we do this coverage? So yeah, that's just the delineation I wanted to make.
With when it comes to reviewers being bought, that's been a problem for a very long time. But at least the nice thing back then was, if say those people that were being bought in the first place were people who odds are built those websites, they built that magazine.
That doesn't make it better.
No, definitely not. But, at least there was a perspective of, they at least kind of knew what they were talking about. They were at least supposed to be the top of the line critics.
But nowadays, that goes out the window, Nolan.
That's throwing them all in the same pot. That's not the way it was. Back when like EGM was going up against Nintendo Power, Nintendo wasn't working with them. Nintendo wasn't sending them squat. They didn't want anybody else in the zone. They just wanted their own magazine covering it. They didn't want EGM covering anything. They didn't give EGM anything. So looking at like, Nintendo Power versus Electronic Gaming Monthly.
What? No, that's completely wrong. The Nintendo did a bunch of stuff with EGM all the time. Shiggy did a bunch of like Zelda interviews. I remember those.
In the beginning, that's what they were doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, though, I think if we can at least agree in the middle ground here, even though they were usually getting, review copies, and there were probably some certain companies they probably were giving better reviews to than others, at the end of the day, they still had to not compromise the name of the magazine. They couldn't give every single game a 10.
I think right now you're just doing the nostalgia thing, Nolan. I love you, but this really sounds like you're just going, oh, this was the old school way, so it's okay. Like, the second anybody gets compromised, it doesn't matter if they were once a respectable critic or if they could write the right words. Their opinion doesn't matter because it's not genuine anymore. So like that's what I'm trying to say, is that we like to look back on these old magazines as these indie pioneers who didn't take any money from anybody and had no influence whatsoever. But that's not true. We've had these like I said, we've had discussions about the relationship between the media and game developers since the very first magazines ever came out. I mean, Loki's bringing up Nintendo Power. That was a Nintendo own and run magazine. So when you pick that up, you're getting, oh yeah, you can't say necessarily bad things about a Nintendo game. It's the same sort of level of bias there in these old games that, or maybe not the same level, but there is a bias still in that era of video game journalism.
That's a lot of opinions though, Spencer, that don't matter. I mean, you're saying that anybody who got a review copy, basically your opinion doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, it is you can't, if somebody gets a review copy or goes to, and it's not even the review copies that I'm talking about, because everybody gets review copies. I can get review copies for Bounding. We've gotten them before. But when companies are flown out to studios and they have these one-on-one meetings and they're wined and dined, or they're given exclusive first previews at things, this influences how the magazine is going to cover it. Are they going to want to continue this relationship with this publisher? Are they going to, are they getting some sort of advertising kickback? That's what I'm trying to say, is that we can look at these people and yes, they're experts, but to say that they are completely unbiased and that they are paragons compared to today where there's corruption running abound, it's too nostalgic. Oh, there was a lot of rebel back then. There was a lot of rebel back then with the game scene. It wasn't all this huge and we're going to invite you to fly to Japan and all that. A lot of those opinions are raw, unadulterated opinions.
That's true. I'm not disagreeing with that, but press events still happened. companies.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying you're talking about nostalgia erasing that. But that is the way it was. It was punk. It was rebel. It was different, and it is different than it is now. I'm sorry, but it was different.
It was different. I'm not disagreeing with that, but the way I'm taking Nolan's argument and the way it's being presented is, yes, it had its problems, a lot of the same problems that exist today, but it's okay because that was more of a punk scene to do it in. They agreed more with us, and it's
that's not what I'm saying at all.
It was never okay to sell out.
I'm saying I literally just said that's what Nolan's argument is coming across to me.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay. Everyone has a problem with having rose-colored glasses, and it's a common thing. And that's why you shouldn't go to sell out. But what my point I was trying to make was, at least back then, the problem was you go to where the people who are behind this stuff still had a passion, and even though they could be bought,
I know what you're saying, Nolan, and I know what you're saying, everybody. It unfortunately is not the debate that I think anybody signed up for.
I know, but we're having it, Culture. Are we just going to end it right here?
No, I'm just going to say this. Everybody's talking in circles because you're all basically saying a reflection of each other's ideas. You're just wording it differently.
Valid point.
Because everybody is going to agree that it's it's pretty easy to be compromised on something if you're given a wine and dine treatment. That's true. Whether or not it taints your opinion of a game when you're presenting it to others is an individual thing. Is it possible to know whether or not it's swung somebody one way or the other? No. But I think I think there are still bad faith outlets out there that are going to give a 7 to every single game they review. So it's just it comes down to individuals. Eventually, as Loki was pointing out, we trust people that give us good information and really are falling on the right side of gamers, which also is exactly your argument, Spencer. You're going to have people that are uncompromised and unbiased and give you an honest opinion. I think we're just talking about the same thing, and we're talking in a circle. And we have a bunch of super chats to get to and a lot more stories. So,
I disagree with that, Reed, but we can move on.
Okay, fair enough.
Unfortunately, guys, I do have to head out right around the top of the hour. So yeah, 4:00 is typically when I gotta go.
All right, well, that's fair. So Marvin, you go ahead and step out. We've got a bunch of super chats to catch up with. We will leave no super chat behind, and we need to plow forward with at least the title story. Because, we have to talk about Activision Blizzard and the antitrust suit. So, Marvin, exit yourself out, my friend. Tell us what you got.
Yep. Make sure you check out tomorrow night, Toonie Talk TV, 8 p.m. over on Toonitown TV. I'll be there. Nolan will be there. I'm sure Spencer will be there eventually once he's done hanging out with his cooler friends. And we've got a great thing. We've got so much to talk about. New video just dropped on Toonitown TV today about Joker 2's box office. We're back to now that I'm back to work after being out for about 4 days, being under the weather. We're back to a daily schedule. So check it out and come hang out with us. We'd love to have you guys there. Thank you guys very much. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Marvin, and thanks for covering those stories. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
All right, moving on. We've got a bunch of supers I want to get to. One of them is even in support of Spencer. We got T-Neil89 once again for 10 more of the tokens we absolutely need. With regards to Concord, bad game falls in proverbial poop. Classic bit of karmic comedy. Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? There. That was mine. Did I do it right? Okay, fair enough.
You got 7, though. Remember that.
It's got a 7. Daryl the Derelict. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Love the hat for $2. Greetings, programs. Loving the content. Well, thank you for that. T-Neil once more for another $2 worth of tokens. Says, so many bombs. EA is doing their Dresden impression. Oh, little war joke for you, folks. There you go. Well done. And finally, another 10 from T-Neil, who apparently is just on a roll with 10s lately as the 10th super chat comes in once again. I agree with Spencer, but I'll add as a caveat that gamers inherently have to be at least somewhat more attentive since money is tight and games are significant investment in time and capital.
Oh, for sure.
I think we're
$70 to do like one thing. No thanks.
Let me add to that though, and see if you agree with me, Spence. Everything's more expensive now. Do you know how much it costs to go to a movie? It's like, hey, dude, I had money. I can't even afford to eat. If I go see this film, I'm doomed.
Dude, you're paying
$60+ bucks for a couple.
Yeah, exactly, right?
60+ bucks if you want to take someone with you. Get a popcorn, a drink, a soda, something.
Yeah,
whoa, popcorn and drink, Loki? I didn't know we were taking out loans to go.
Living large.
Dude, discount theater you must be going to, dude, and you're not even counting the popcorn bucket, are you?
Oh, yeah, you gotta get that's when the girl did. That's when you get in the top and tails. And you get dressed. Girl, you better dress up nice because I'm getting you a popcorn bucket.
I'm getting a popcorn bucket.
Throw on your finest dress. We're getting the alien Romulus popcorn bucket.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna splurge. I'm going to get you the Venom Last Dance popcorn bucket. So there's that. Wow. Apparently, all of my mess was just displayed there. Let's try that again.
I was hoping the popcorn bucket would be on your desk when you did.
No. I this thing is crazy. If I just hold up my fingers like that, it does this zoom out. So like it exposes how messy my desk is right now. That's crazy. Anyway, all right. Well, we got to move on. I want to say thanks to all of you wonderful super chatters. We got another 5. Holy cow, T Neil. Thank you, my friend. Another 5 from T Neil. Outlets out there which will give a 7 to everything. Yes. Not pointing any fingers, of course. Oh, I didn't exactly. And don't want to name IGN and names. Yes. Yeah, I won't say that. Won't say names. I will say that they are challenged when it comes to covering things. Okay, we've got one last story we have to cover. It's our title story. One of the most important things I think that happened in the last 2 days, Spencer, I think you'll probably agree. I think everybody here will probably agree, including Space Dave, who's been really quiet. But let's get in space, nobody can hear you speak, apparently. But let me grab this one from you. Here we are. It took forever because I almost shared the window, which had shared all the stories. Let's go. Windows, otherwise known as Microsoft. Activision Blizzard antitrust lawsuit settled between Microsoft and players. This story is bonker sauce because we don't get any real numbers. This is from Game Rant. I'm like, okay, they settled it for how much money? So according to the Microsoft. Or according to this reporter, I should say, Microsoft settles an antitrust lawsuit over the Activision Blizzard buyout, closing the legal battle with a group of gamers. Concerns over monopolistic practices were raised, but Microsoft argued its acquisition would benefit gamers. So far, it's been nothing but detrimental, but that's fine. The lawsuit was initially dismissed for lack of evidence, but players later refined their challenge, and now there's going to be some money. So Microsoft and a group of concerned gamers have settled a big antitrust lawsuit brought on by its buyout of Activision Blizzard. The acquisition of Activision Blizzard has been one of the biggest gaming news stories to unfold over the last few years, as it allowed Microsoft to bring major franchises like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Crash Bandicoot. Is Crash Bandicoot a major title? No. Okay, well, that's
doesn't sound like one anymore, unfortunately.
That's a weird call out into the Xbox umbrella. This industry-shaking buyout was finalized in October of 2023, with Microsoft ultimately paying $75.4 billion for Activision Blizzard and all its related assets.
Microsoft paid too much.
They did. Microsoft's purchase of Activision Blizzard drew concern and controversy from a variety of parties, with groups like the UK's Competition Markets Authority and the U.S. Federal Trade Commission challenging the deal due to worries of antitrust violations. One such lawsuit was filed in California by a group of players from multiple states that stressed how Activision Blizzard buyout would create a monopoly and weaken competition between Microsoft and other video game companies. Microsoft has argued that this wouldn't be the case, citing how previously acquired Bethesda titles like Fallout 76 continue to receive updates on non-Xbox systems following its buyout of ZeniMax in 2021. Fallout 76 is also one of the worst games to call out here. I don't know. This Game Rant person is trying to say, look, you got all these weak sauce games that we're throwing in here. But anyway, then 76 isn't really a good representation of like the power of Bethesda, but whatever. So Now, Microsoft and 10 players residing in California, New Mexico, New Jersey have settled this Activision Blizzard-related antitrust lawsuit. As noted, The Hollywood Reporter, the parties involved in court on Monday, October 14th, to verify the deal to dismiss the lawsuit with prejudice, which means those people can't bring it again. Terms of the agreement that led to this settlement haven't been disclosed. So we don't really know how much these players got paid. And we do know that were doing anything they could not to end up in front of another judge. So before the settlement resolved the case for good, the antitrust lawsuit was initially dismissed in March after Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley determined that the player group failed to present adequate evidence to support their claims of Microsoft gaining a monopoly on the gaming industry should it complete its buyout, except that they clearly have already. However, plaintiffs
I love the trusted bro. Please trust me, bro. Trust me, bro. We're all good.
Yeah, that's literally what it is.
Yeah, it was. It still is, to be fair. This deal can be unwound at any time if somebody else brings a suit that can prove just how limited the competition is now for major studios. But look, it won't take long. We lost 13 studios to date so far. I guess 9. There are more that are going to be lost in the next few years. So this deal it could get rolled back eventually. We'll see. But anyway, however, the plaintiffs were granted 20 days to refine their challenge. Obviously, they did, and we end up with the settlement. So at the time this amended lawsuit was filed, Microsoft countered its claims that the Activision Blizzard buyout and the increasing prevalence of Xbox Game Pass would lead to a monopoly by stating that such arguments were based on outdated Supreme Court cases. Those are called precedents. They're not outdated. And the acquisition would instead bring more games to more people through your platform, the monopolistic practice of your platform. Microsoft eventually completed its purchase of Activision Blizzard in 2023, though the FTC would once again challenge the gaming conglomerate following another a round of layoffs earlier this year. So there's that. Now, since we don't know the money, we don't know what happened here. What do you guys suspect happened? And again, these are all speculation, folks. We know nothing. And what do you think this will do to future lawsuits for antitrust? Because obviously Microsoft practices monopoly everywhere, and they've been cited for and busted for monopolistic practices before. Gentlemen, I leave it to you.
I think a Mercy cosplayer showed up at somebody's house with a big bag of cash.
It's probably true.
Genuinely what I think happened.
It's probably true.
Those gamers, that's all they wanted. That's all they ever wanted was a payout. So, I mean, and Microsoft loves this kind of thing because they, as you said, culture, they do it all the time. They're always, every other day they are in an antitrust lawsuit. They always pay out. And yet they go on and do the exact same thing. Like they don't change. And Microsoft
because it's just a fine. They can go, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
here's my pocket
it's just a money loss. So they just
Yeah,
go do it
here's
in a
my
different way, some other
bingo.
way. They've been doing it since the 90s. And Bill Gates gave super attitude back when he was the CEO, when he was doing anyone out at the end when he was with Internet Explorer. So this is ingrained inside of Microsoft, and it's just. But it is more proof to me that I think they're shifting away at the end of the day from the actual console market, and they're going to, as this article kind of stated, all they care about is getting people on board as a software company again. So, because I think they've lost too much money on. I mean, they've lost the console war. Let's just admit that. So
they just lost 70-something billion. They just lost 70-something billion. This is worse than the Fox deal with Disney.
So this is chump change to them, and this is more of a reason for them just to shift into the market and just to become a game company, which will make them money at the end of the day.
So very true. Oh boy! All right. Well, I have a feeling that Microsoft will be back in court at some point on another antitrust thing in the gaming sphere in the next couple of years. I have a feeling we're going to see more and more of this, to be fair. If there's a change in leadership in this country, you're going to see a lot of companies that are going to be, facing their own antitrust stuff going forward. You're going to see, Google, was declared a monopoly last week. So something's going to happen.
A fine.
No, they will be They will probably be broken up into pieces. We'll see.
Oh, that's right. Weren't you talking to me about that? Like they're going to be split up into like YouTube and then Google. Yeah, I remember this now.
I won't. I'm not going to get explicit, but I'll just say that the precedents established for when you are declared a monopoly.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yeah, but objectively, Google is a monopoly. Like,
no, well, right. Yeah. Well, and legally now too. All both. All both. So, and we'll see what happens. And that'll be under the guidance of somebody, and it will not be the best outcome for the people at Alphabet. I mean, Apple, essentially, Alphabet, you are a monopoly, and you've eliminated the ability to compete in so many different fields that the government doesn't trust you. So you will be divided, regardless. All right, gentlemen. Any
stories? Their AI news summary things. That's so bad.
Oh, you don't even know. I'm actually going to do a story on that this week.
Good. Thank you.
Did you see the New York Times? It actually is suing.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
They're doing something right.
Yeah, so the New York Times actually is filing a suit. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I had it a minute ago. Anyway, I'll send it to you. But it's actually from Hollywood Reporter, from their Esquire section, which is their legal section. And the headline for it is how damaging are AI news summaries to publishers. Well, it's damaging enough that the New York Times is going after that startup. What were they called? Perplexity.
Thank goodness. At least, I mean, credit where credit's due.
Yeah, true story. Yeah. Well, of course, that's, Bezos's push there. But anyway, regardless, we need to round this out. Gentlemen, any other game thoughts before we call it a day and say goodbye to the amazing audience that supported the show and the ones that we appreciate the most, especially when they bring the cuteness? But let's grab the last minute super chats and then we'll say goodbye. Nope, that's not it. There we go. I'm confused. Is the writer just illiterate? Oh, were you talking about the previous article? I don't know, T. Neil, but I think they just didn't understand the situation. And finally, the mom for $2 says, I'm late, but I'm glad you're still casting. Well, we are wrapping up right now, and we want to say thank you for the cuteness and the $2 in tokens. Let's start with you, Nolan. Nolan, what do you got coming up? What are you doing? How are things? Tell people what's going on.
Good. I've definitely been keeping busy on the projects, so to speak. Not a lot I can really announce right now because everything has to be pretty tight under wraps currently. But what I can confirm is that Lost in the Files episode 10 is still in development. You should be looking at a release date sometime in early 2025, sometime in the early springtime. So it's going to take a little longer to be made, but I assure you it's going to be worth the wait. And there's been a lot of production going around, a lot behind the scenes, a lot of driving, a lot of props being bought, a lot of new music that's already done. I've teased a little bit of that. There is a trailer available on my channel if you're interested in that. So please check it out if you're interested in video game mysteries and history of that nature.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Nolan. Everybody should check out his channel. And of course, when Lost in the Files comes out, we will promote the heck out of that. It's always a good effort on your part, Nolan, and I appreciate it. Speaking of a good effort on their part, Spencer Baculi over there at Bounding into Comics. That's right. The editor-in-chief and kind of the guy that he wrote a good story that I really thought was great. And we covered today. He writes he's got a lot of good stories. You should go check him out. Anything you want to push, Spence?
You basically got it right there. Check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new news stories, and then check out what everybody else is doing here because they've all got good stuff going on.
There you go. And let's see, Space Dave from high above the planet Earth. How are things? Anybody you want to promote? Or anything you want to promote?
I just want to promote this team here. I mean, of excellence, the excellence of execution, as they used to say. You guys are great. Marvin as well, who has exited out. And I think we've got to do a review of your co-host. What happened to him?
He's utterly occupied for a good reason, and
I'm kidding.
I always wish him well because
Jonas, that lightning lane situation, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh boy, let me tell you, geez, it was crazy. That's a ridiculous announcement this morning. But we will be, of course, Jonas will return next Wednesday, and of course
Jonas
in video form as we do more and more videos this week. In fact, I'm going to wear this guy out, Loki's Mornings of Mischief. It's the great Stone Cold Loki himself. Loki, tell people about you and things.
Oh, things have been going good. Guys, make sure you're subscribed to all these wonderful people around here. Make sure you're subscribed to Culture. Make sure you're subscribed to Jonas's Main. Make sure you're subscribed to Pencer. Go check out Bounding into Comics. Make sure you're subscribed to Nolan. Thunder. The Thunder. Bringing the Thunder. Space Dave, who's like, hey, guys, how's it going? Or, hey, guys, whatever. Make sure you subscribe to all these wonderful people. You got all that figured out because this is a great group of guys. It doesn't get better than this.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun, and I appreciate it. And this guy is fantastic. Check on him every weekday. He's got a great morning show right before mine.
Loki, are you gonna play that BattleTech game at all? Like before you review it? Like you're gonna stream it? I mean, not obviously you got to play it, but
I'm not going to stream it, but I will do a recording of. I've got the thing set up. I just don't know when I have time, dude.
No worries.
I mean, if I'm up to like 2 a.m, I'm always like, ain't nobody gonna be up. Nobody's gonna be up. No one's gonna watch this at like 2 o'clock in the morning when I finally get to it. I'll think about it, but I do know I'm gonna make a recording for Culture and for this channel. The first whatever, I don't know how many minutes, we'll talk about it once we're done. But if he just wants a couple little clips, I'll give him that. If he wants a whole hour of the first hour of the game, I'll give him that. So whatever he wants.
Yeah, I'm just excited because I like you said that this morning in the Slack, and I was like, somebody else remembers BattleTech and MechWarrior. Oh my, let's do this.
I remember.
I love MechWarrior.
It's going to be extraordinary, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, T. Neal with the last word on the super chats for $5 worth of tokens says, when they're broken up, will they actually be so, or will it be more like the Dark Angels, to make a 40K reference, where it's in name only? I have a feeling it'll be a little more confiscatory than the Bell breakup back in the 80s, 90s, but I think that it will. I think that they will still try to partner and work with each other because some of their values and their ability to interact between the various divisions. But we'll see. It also depends on who's in power and what judge hears the case and does the deciding. So that's also a factor as well. On that note, I just want to say thanks once again to all of you, from T. Neal and the Mum to obviously Daryl the Derelict. We've got Old Gamer 72 Cutlass out there, Machiny Draws, Samuel Main, Radial Drago with an amazing generous gift, Gory-Eyed Beast in the house. We've got Angmar WK, Bass Player 2011, Iffy, Pinochet's Helicopter Tours. You don't want to go on one of those. And and everybody else who was here, we truly do appreciate you. Clive Griffiths. We've got TGV Monster, who's very generous, and Ruby Hoove. You all are amazing. Thanks for sticking around for our gamer commentary. We hope to see you here next week. And every day, we're going to try to drop a video this week, at least one. So be there or don't be there. Well, just be there all the time. Just constantly. Anyway, I got to go. So do these guys. All right, let's get this set up, gentlemen. I appreciate your support today. Thanks for being here. And we'll talk to you all later. And to say the right thing at the end of the stream, get your game on.
Yeah.
All right, we're out.
Hey there, I'm Flo from Under a Rock, and I'm here today to tell you about That Game Place. They're a bunch of good hitmen. What? Folks who are passionate about games. In fact, they were
once human.
A bunch of friends who came together around that park place and thought the game space could use their valuable
Monopoly
insights. Sometimes they'll tell you how to
Minecraft,
look into if a game is a good fit for you, and review the
Hades
upcoming games. This team of
Codenames
intelligent people will
Scrabble
collect all the pertinent data points, as well for your
Pandemic
studious needs. Jonas J. Campbell, the
Dishonored
investigative reporter for that park place, and Culture Casino, He's specifically
Yahtzee! Hey!
well-informed.
God of War!
Oh, Wilson! Come on now. What are you...
Huh?
Now you're just... What are you doing?
Oh, well, I was just looking into various games. I didn't know what was good or not. Trying to pick what thing to play next and maybe get a bit of background information in the process.
Oh, yeah.
So I was asking Alexa what game I could play.
Yeah.
Oh! I know a good game I could play with Alexa.
What's that?
Who to vote for?
Or you can just go to that game place and subscribe and stay up to date on games.
Oh. Okay.